crap, that's loud. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Okay, I hope that works.
Check.
I'm gonna check on YouTube.
Yep.
I'm gonna mute this. Hello. Test, test, test. Test, test, test. Welcome to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina student-run radio stations, broadcast of the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers versus Mashall Thundering Herd football game here at beautiful Brooks Stadium in Conway, South Carolina. Day before Halloween, October 30th, should be a great one. I'm with my color commentary, Jack Sargent to my right, and Braxton Miller to my left. There's about 8 minutes to kick off, so we'll be getting into that in about 8 minutes for the Coastal versus Mashall football game. October 30th. Y'all got anything to say?
Yeah, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be depending if Coastal could stop the pass offense and whether Mashall could stop the rushing offense on Coastal.
Yeah, the Thunder and Herd averaging just a touch over 35 points per game. They lead the Sun Belt in offense. Coastal Carolina about mid-pack as far as defense is concerned. Both teams with one loss in divisional play or league play right now. Coastal 2-1 in Sun Belt play. Mashall Mashall 2-1. Coastal 3-1. But this game's important for both teams because it puts them in striking range of James Madison. Coastal Carolina will play James Madison to close out the season. Mashall has them next after this contest.
Yeah, that's a big one. Love what these guys brought up. We'll be back for the kickoff in 7 minutes. Go see WCC Radio, Coastal Carolina Student Run Radio Station. Welcome back to WCCU Radio, Coastal Carolina student-run radio stations broadcast at the Coastal Carolina versus Mashall Thundering Herd football game. And just before kickoff, both teams are 4-3. Marshall's 2-1 in the conference. Coastal is 3-1 in the conference. But there's something interesting about both head coaches. I'll let Braxton start.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of similarities here, but not just that. Not with the record, not with the winning. It's the past coaching that they had. Tim Beck, the former offensive coordinator at NC State, and Tony Gibson, the former defensive coordinator at NC State. I mean, this is just a matchup. So many similarities that could just generate some rivalry. And I know it's Tony Gibson's first season, but this might be his most important game this season.
Well, the interesting thing about that was in perusing the game notes for both sides, they talked about how these two are no strangers to facing each other because they did it practically every day. With, as you said, Tim Beck being the offensive coordinator and Tony Gibson being the defensive coordinator at South Carolina.
Yeah, it should be interesting. We're about to see kickoff here. Stadium is looking pretty full. Since it's Halloween Eve for Coastal Carolina, fans were encouraged to wear their Halloween costumes, show out their spirit. There's going to be a packed night. I think Medieval Times is performing at halftime or something. As we get kicked off, Mashall is kicking off to Coastal, and Coastal should be receiving the first possession of the game and seeing Samari Collier out there being under center for the Chanticleers here.
Also got to mention Chanticleer's new alternative jerseys with the palm trees. Looks great. I love it.
Just a couple of procedural notes. Fourth meeting between these two teams about to kick off.
And there's the kick. And it's in the end zone for a touchback.
To finish that point, didn't want to step on you when we got to the kickoff. This is the second time since Mashall joined the Sun Belt that they are in Conway. It was a going-away victory for the Chants, 34-6 in 2023. The last time that the Herd were here, Mashall took the last contest in Huntington last season, and the opening meeting of these two teams in Sun Belt play was won by Coastal Carolina. That one also up in Huntington.
Yeah, Coastal looking to put in some offense as they've somewhat been struggling this year. 305 total yards per game and only 19 points per game. You compare that to Mashall, who has 35 points per game, nearly double it. Samari Collier takes a snap, looking deep, and overthrows. Who's that, number 2? I believe overthrows Malcolm Gilly, the senior out of Milwaukee, I believe.
You know, I wanted to talk about Samari Collier. What a story for this kid. This kid transfers to Coastal Carolina, is listed as the third-string QB at the start of the year. He would have been fourth-string after if it was for Emmett Brown's injury, but just a dog. I mean, he finishes, and now he's the starter and gave this Chants team life.
Yeah, takes a snap, rushing up the middle gets tackled for about a gain of 10, I want to say.
Yes.
I was definitely missed that part, but yeah, it's a first down for the Chants right there.
And that's what you got to watch for in Collier, his legs. That's what they have to watch for. It tore App State apart last week. Marshall's got to watch his legs.
The legs are a big key. He's 32 attempts for 162 yards, 5.1 average. Collier passes, throws, connects over the middle to... I can't tell.
Second down.
Any chance you have seen the number? I believe it was to number 4, Bryson Graves. Okay, it was 4, okay. For some reason, that did not look like a 4 to me.
Yeah,
so.
the New Jerseys have different looking numbers, so you can't really see them.
It was very slanted. But yeah, Samari Collier, 5.1 yards per attempt. Collier takes the snap, rushing to the right, and gets tackled before he makes it back to the line of scrimmage.
And you know, that's a tough part about a QB draw. It's supposed to be up the middle, but the offensive line can't contain that middle part. Collier has to break it outside, which makes it a lot easier for Mashall to bring him down with no gain.
Yeah, wow, those sign numbers are really throwing me off right now.
On the tackle, sorry there, Chris. On the tackle there, it looked like it was number 7, Jalen Parker, a redshirt senior for the Herd. It was there on the replay.
Yeah. Yeah, it is so good that Marshall's jerseys are, realistic numbers here. 3rd and 5 here on the 42. Collier takes a snap, looking over the middle, toss to the outside, and it's picked off by number 1 Mashall, who takes it back. Boogie Trotter takes it back for a pick 6. That is someone you did not want to throw to start the game. That will be his 5th interception on the year and his 2nd touchdown of the season. That is something that I was talking to with my friend before I came to the game, that there is no way that Coastal should look in his way. He has I believe 2 pass defended, 4 interceptions, and a touchdown this year. So definitely not the person you want to target. It was an out route to, I didn't see the Coastal player they were targeting, but Boogie Trotter with a great interception there.
And that's a great play by Boogie, but Collier had his eyes on the receiver the whole time.
Yeah.
And Boogie just read it like a book.
Yeah, for a good corner, you cannot stare down the receiver the entire route. You gotta look at some other people. And the kick is up and good for, oh boy, for their kicker, Lochran Quinn. We are gonna be heading to break now. We'll be back in 3 minutes with Coastal's second drive. Welcome back. You're listening to WCC Radio, Coastal Carolina student-run radio station. 7-0 Marshall starts the game with a pick 6 by Boogie Trotter, but I'm going to have my color commentary here talk about last week's game.
Yeah, so Samari Collier was also picked off against App State last weekend. Coastal Carolina ended up coming back from a 14-point deficit against App State, which is the second largest comeback that the Shots have had since moving up to the FBS in 2016. If you're wondering about the largest comeback, it was a 15-point comeback on November the 4th, 2023 against Liberty, where they came back down 15 in a game they would win 28-24. Coastal Carolina won the matchup against App State by the score of 45-37.
And the kick is off and into the end zone for another Coastal Carolina touchback. Second straight drive, the Coastal will start as a touchback. Some of the stats I want to get into, especially with Samari Collier after that turnover there. Samari Collier, 155 yards on the year, 31 yards per game, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And they throw to someone who has more touchdowns. Coastal also only has about 120 passing yards per game. So passing right into the best defensive player with a passing offense who has not been the best this year.
If I'm Coastal here, I'm leaning on the run game after that. You do not want to go back into the air.
1,000%, and that's what they do with a little touch pass in the backfield as he jukes inside. He's running on the left side, down to the 40, and out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
Washington.
That was Robbie Washington on the carry, who has, I didn't think so. who has a few rushes. As actually, it's counted as a reception, as it was a touch pass. 15 receptions, 157 yards, 10.5-yard average, and a touchdown.
Redshirt sophomore out of Miami.
Big pickup for the Chants right there. The kid's been active throughout all these games in the slot position.
Definitely. Collier in shotgun. Takes a snap. It's a QB draw up the left side and tackled for about a 3-yard gain, I want to say. Will be a 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6-ish about at the 50-yard line.
Looked for about half a second like he might have had a seam there. It closed up really well on the Mashall side defensively to shut that off.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what you got to worry about on Marshall's side. That linebacker core with Jalen Parker and Jabril Amin, just guys that are absolutely athletic, with Parker leading Marshall's team in tackles this year.
Somali Collier takes a snap to 17, who gets blown up by, I couldn't see who on Marshall's defense, I believe number 7, Jalen Parker. You were just talking about him. He's the one that came in and broke up the play.
Pass was intended for Cameron Wright.
As a little screen pass to the left side. Coastal 3rd and 8 on our Coastal's 49-yard line. They started the game with a 50-yard pass about, incomplete. Then I think a QB draw, and then threw the interception. So not very successful so far in the passing game. We'll see if that changes with this play.
I'm going to go up and check the play right now.
Yeah. Collier looking over to the left, takes a snap. Has time, throws it to an open number 17, Cameron Wright, who takes it up the right side. He's juked inside, and he's tackled at the Marshall 33-yard line. That was a big gain of about 25 yards.
And you see, that was just a mesh concept. 2 guys running flat routes and the running back running a wheel route. That running back takes away that safety with Wright coming across. That's just a great play by the Chants.
Right, another QB rush there up the middle, or up the left side of the line for a gain of about 7 yards.
And that was the cornerback for Marshall right there, Daryl Sweetening, who was there to stop the run forward. Another one where it looked like Collier was going to have an angle forward, but it closed up on him.
Yeah. Coastal 2nd and 3 from the 21-yard line, nearly 1 yard away from the red zone here. 11:05 left on the clock. Collier takes a snap. Another QB draw-esque, looking to go to the left and then shift it over to the right, who gets tackled at the line of scrimmage by, I believe, I have no idea, honestly.
So Coastal
By number 4, I believe, Jadarius Green McKnight, I believe, got the tackle.
So Coastal Carolina is going to the run game on this drive heavily. As you said, Coastal, in all 4 wins this year, there's been a common denominator. They've rushed for over 180 yards. They have not won this year when they've rushed for less than 100 yards.
Yeah, that definitely will be the key, keeping it on the ground. As we've seen, the rushing has been a bit more successful to get those consistent yards. Collier with a 3rd and 2. And the run again up the left side. That's going to be close.
You know, one thing
I believe it's 4th and 1 now. Sorry, you're good.
One thing I want to point out about the Chants offense right now, I don't even think they've handed off to Simpkins yet. It's just been runs with Collier.
That's been QB runs.
All 7 times so far.
And then it's been the touch pass to Robbie Washington. So, I think you're right. I don't think we've handed it off to any of our running backs, whether that be Simpkins, Nicely, Edwards, or whoever.
So on 4th and 1, Marshall's going to take a timeout. And the interesting thing is the offense stayed on the field there for the moment. It's 4th and 1, so he was just a little bit short.
I expect them to stay on the field again. You're in that range where it's 20, 30. To be a 37, 38-yard field goal from here. So I could definitely, that's probably makeable as Keon Afrukte out of California is 2 for 2 from 40 to 49 and 7 for 7 on field goals on the year. So I expect them to stay on the field since it is such a 4th and 1, 4th and half yard type of thing. And they gave up the pick 6 on the last drive. They are
going for the field goal.
They're going for the field goal. It'll be a 36-yard field goal.
You know, I really don't understand this from the Chanticleers. Your run game has been working, getting over a yard every single time. Field goal just seems safe for a game that you're already losing down by 7.
Kick is off. And it's good. Did not look like it had the distance, but it did. about 5 yards over the crossbar. 7-3 Mashall, and that'll be 8 for 8.
Yeah, it was hooking to the right. It was from the left hash mark, and the kick was dipping almost towards, as you said, maybe about 5-10 yards above the crossbar, but it was dipping, and looked like it was fading to the right-hand side.
I think it might have got tipped at the line, because the way it came off, it just never looked like it had that much distance on it. 7-3 as we go into this next break. Live from Mashall, you listen to WCC Radio, Coastal Carolina Student Run Radio Station. Welcome back to WCC Radio, Coastal Carolina Student Run Radio Station's broadcast of the Coastal Carolina football game versus Mashall. Mashall's currently up 7-3 with 9:55 left in the first quarter as Coastal kicks off. It goes through the end zone. Someone I want to touch on here for Mashall is their quarterback, Carlos Del Rio Wilson, 6'2", 215. He has one of the best touchdown to interception ratios at 12 touchdowns to 1 interception, as well as 4 touchdowns on the ground. He has 1,133 yards through the air, and that averages out to be about 190 yards per game, and 8 sacks on the year. Mashall's offense as a whole is about 68th in total yards with 389, and then in rushing yards, they're 30th with 196 per game as he takes a snap, hands it off, and a gain of 5 yards about for
Antoine
Roberts. Okay, I didn't know if that was a 14 or 44, so.
Yeah, no, well, they got to choose fours, man.
Yeah, exactly. And then Mashall, 29th in points with 35 per game. Carlos Rogers takes
There's 4.
Snap over to 4, who is DeMarcus Lacey, who takes it for about a 5-yard gain up to the 35.
Yeah, I want to talk about DeMarcus Lacey, just an absolute electric player for Mashall. He's a game changer this year. He's just right below 500 yards receiving this year with 4 touchdowns, a guy that you have to watch.
Definitely. Takes the snap, handoff to 44, Antoine Roberts, again for a gain of about 2 yards here.
And the thing about this Mashall offense is this is a team that has scored 35-plus points in every game since their first 2 of the season. They had a weird second match this season. Their first game was against Georgia, which was a 45-7 victory for Georgia. Second one was a 21-20 victory for Missouri State, their first FBS win over the Herd.
That's crazy.
Marshall's offense has been clicking ever since then, though, and they have not scored less than 35. They give up a lot of points, but they
have the offense to back it up.
They could cushion themselves enough giving up those points.
Roberts motions out left. Del Rio takes a snap, throws it over the middle, and it is complete to the 50-yard line for
Number 0.
DeAndre
Tamarez.
Wow.
DeAndre Tamarez.
Got it. That was a good little completion over the middle for a gain of about 15 yards there. Setting up here. Del Rio Wilson takes a snap, looks nearly sacked over, and that is complete. Oh, no, it's not. He dropped it right through the hands of DeAndre Tamarez.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, that looked like it was already completed.
Tamarez had the Chanticleers dead to rights right there. That ball just slipped right through his hands, but it was a perfect over-the-middle ball. The Chanticleers defense got gashed on that play right there.
There's a flag on the offense for holding, I believe, so it wouldn't have counted anyway, but right through the hands of Tamarez, it looked like.
For Tamarez, though, that's fortunate because that's not going to go for a drop. That's not going to go for a drop for him. Not that it really matters at the end of the day, but Mashall is backed up.
Yeah, 1st and 20 here from their own 40. Antoine Roberts to Del Rio's left. Del Rio Wilson in shotgun, takes a snap, hands it off. Or he doesn't. He keeps the ball at a nice read option, takes it for about a gain of 3 yards up to the 43, 44-yard line there. I got fooled on that one.
Well, he cut to his left-hand side. Mashall going from left to right on your radio dial. And like you said, he looked like he was down when the first contact came there, but he was able to go through 3 Chanticleer defenders to get that positive yardage.
Looks like Chanticleer's running a blitz package.
Del Rio Wilson rolls out right, looking to throw and overthrew his receiver, DeMarcus Lacey, 6', 190. He did throw into about double coverage, I want to say, as there was 3 Chanticleers right around him. Not able to make the catch as DeMarcus Lacey was kind of falling down, was not on flat ground.
Sort of one that was through his hands again. That was a tough ball for him to catch. He didn't drop that ball, but it was in the air. It was in the vicinity of his hands, and it kind of flew through there. 3rd and 17 now upcoming.
Big 3rd and 17 for Del Rio Wilson in the Thundering Herd right here. Empty set out back. Antoine Roberts motions out to the left side. Del Rio, with pressure in his face, gets it out to Antoine Roberts for a gain of 3 yards. It'll be about 4th and 15 here. I expect them to punt with Nathan Totten out of Ashland, Kentucky.
And that's just a great job by Jeremiah Johnson there, drawing up a cover 4. It's 3rd and 17. Drop your players back. You got to be safe with it, and that's a great job.
Definitely.
Great job also by the D-line for forcing pressure right there.
Yeah, as there was a rusher right in Del Rio Wilson's face as he got that ball out, hurried up his game, maybe was looking for someone deeper in the field, but didn't have time to look at that.
You can give a little bit of an assist on that play as well to the penalty.
Definitely, that was big. 4th and 15 from the 45, and Coastal must have punt, but gets back on top of it. I believe that was, I want to say,
Jamison Tucker got on the ball.
Not only did
I want to say it was Graves that muffed it.
Yes.
Not only did he muff it, the ball was bobbled twice, so it was the initial muff, and then a second player went for the ball, and when he went for it, he kind of almost like, excuse me, tapped it forward, and it ended up giving Coastal positive yardage there. Not the way you draw it up, muffing the kick to
it looked like it got shot forward another like 10 yards from where he was.
But you'll take that all day if you're Coastal's offense.
Unconventional punt return, not the way you draw it up, but you're not going to complain about it.
Absolutely not.
No, definitely not. We'll head
Welcome
to break
to Sunbelt football, baby.
Exactly. We'll head to break, and we'll have the Coastal Carolina possession after this. Mashall up 7-3 with 6:30 left in the first quarter. Welcome back to Coastal Carolina football versus Mashall Thundering Herd on WCCUSN, Coastal Carolina's student-run radio station. Mashall up 7-3 over Coastal with 6:30 left in the first quarter. And Jack, you talked about the standings?
Yeah, we talked about standings at the top of this broadcast as Coastal Carolina and Mashall both have one loss in Sun Belt play. 3-1 record for the Herd, 2-1 record for Coastal Carolina. James Madison leads the East Division with a 5-0 record. They took out Texas State 2 days ago to improve to the 5-0 record. Coastal Carolina in a really good spot right now with some favorable matchups coming up the next couple of matchups after this one. Georgia State, Georgia Southern, teams towards the bottom of the divisional standings.
Yeah. Oh, and it's fumbled, and Coastal turns the ball over again to Mashall's defense. That was number 17 on the defense, I believe, making that play. That's Dateon Smith. Yep. So that's Deontay Smith with 23 tackles, 15 solos, and 2 interceptions on the year, coming up with a fumble recovery. I did not see who actually fumbled the ball.
Obviously, they're going to check this, but from the Coastal Carolina perspective, after getting that stop, which was an important stop to get,
that was a big stop.
Turning it over immediately is really, really tough if this does stand, and I don't see an indication why it isn't going to at this point.
Yeah, I believe this will stand. I don't know. I'm waiting for the online. Oh boy, there goes that. Yep, and it does stand. So Mashall will have the ball at the Chanticleer 37-yard line. Del Rio Wilson takes a snap, rolling out right, throwing it on the sideline, and that is incomplete. Looking to target Toby Payne.
And again, who else was it on the edge other than Zeke Campbell, the guy who leads the shots and sacks this year? He has been applying great pressure this game, and that's how the shots are going to win. You got to force these passes.
That was Javon Edwards fumbling on that, his first fumble of the season, recovered by Dateon Jones.
Zeon Turner's in for quarterback.
Appreciate that. Heads up there. Doesn't matter as they hand off to Joshawn Barbie, who loses about 2 yards there. The guy that forced the fumble for Mashall was Kerryon Martin there. So, good play from him. Kerryon Martin, who has 1.5 sacks on the year as well as 18 solo tackles. Big first 2 plays for Coastal's defense here as they force a Mashall 3rd and 11 on Coastal's 38. Del Rio Wilson is back in the game. Takes a snap, looking over to the right side, and that is incomplete. That was a big defensive run there by Coastal Carolina.
Massive stand there on defense after turning the ball over in what is positive territory for Mashall, giving Mashall a look on offense to start it off on the opposite side of the 50-yard line. You're able to give him a quick 3-and-out, although it does look like Mashall is going to try a long field goal.
This will be a 38-48. This will be a 55-yard field goal from Lochran Quinn. This seems very impressive. And kick is up, and it's drifting left.
Looks left.
Hooked it.
He got it.
And it's good from 55 yards. Mashall and Lochran Quinn go up 10-3. What a kick from him.
Yeah, he hooked it off of his foot, and it was dipping, but it didn't dip fast enough to the left side. It kind of, if you take the bottom of the upright and see that 90-degree angle where the crossbar meets the left side upright, if you draw a 90-degree angle there, that little box where you draw the angle, that's kind of where he fit it in there. It's an imaginary image, but there was dipping left, but he had just enough. Maybe not good from 57, 58, but good from 55, and that's all that matters.
I think that was a perfect kick for the distance. Like you mentioned, I think that makes it 56 and hits the crossbar on 57 there. So had the exact distance he needed to make that kick, and that's all you need. Doesn't matter where it goes inside the uprights, as long as it goes in, and it did for Lochran and Mashall.
Huge break for Mashall there, honestly, to get points on the board. After gaining nothing really on that drive at all.
They actually lost yards.
Lost yards, exactly. So Mashall getting points on the board is a success for what their offense did.
Exactly. And I was going to say, you can almost call that a success for the defense not allowing a touchdown. but that's kind of heartbreaking with the way.
That's just really unfortunate. That's a great
Yeah.
kick. You can't really do nothing about that.
But Coastal did pretty much all you could do on that drive. Knocked him back an additional 2 yards, and Mashall just executed there. We'll see. Go.
I was going to say, given the alternative, given the alternative, you'll take that.
Yeah. And the kick is through the end zone. And Coastal will have the ball again for another touchback where they will take it over at the 25-yard line. What's this, Coastal's third or fourth drive?
Fourth drive.
Fourth drive in 10 minutes.
2 of those costing and turnovers, with 1 an interception and 1 a fumble. And that fumble is just shooting yourself in the foot right
That
there.
fumble is, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a hard tackle or anything or a strip. He just lost the ball.
Yeah. You can't be having those mental mistakes here, especially in your own territory. Collier takes a snap, looking to the right. I don't know if he missed him or...
I think he missed him. He whipped the pass to the left.
Okay.
Coastal's been playing fast and loose with the football tonight. Obviously the 2 turnovers, the interception and the fumble, but don't forget that almost nearly muffed punt that Coastal Carolina got away with.
There's definitely been a lot of almost bad things that could happen for the Chants, and right now they've somewhat limited it to it, only being down 7 to Mashall with, again, like you mentioned, the muff punt, the 2 turnovers. Yeah. Collier takes a snap, in passing, empty, throws out wide and misses to the right. That was targeting
Mega.
Oh, I cannot say that.
Malik Mega.
Malik Mega.
Yeah, Mega was, they thought he was really going to be a game changer at this program, being the transfer from Penn State. And with how big he is at 6'4", I don't know, it's been a struggle getting him the ball recently. And, you just want to see more out of your passing offense.
Definitely. Passing offense is definitely where Coastal has struggled this year. Like I mentioned at the start, only about 120 yards per game through the air. They do have 170 on the ground. Collier takes a snap over the middle into triple coverage, but fits it in to Cameron Wright, 6'4", from Batesville, Mississippi.
Cameron
and
Wright.
there's a flag. Continue.
I was going to say, Cameron Wright has been making some big plays for Coastal Carolina. On the field goal drive, he was in the position on the over-the-middle ball, which led to a first down.
Illegal man downfield.
That'll be a replay of third down.
Doesn't negate the point about Cameron Wright. He has
No.
been making some plays for Coastal Carolina, but unfortunately that one's not going to stand, and you're going backwards, 3rd and 15 from the 20.
Again, that's just shooting yourself in the foot. You cannot do that if you're the Chants offense.
Yeah, and let's go back to the, first drive for Mashall, I want to say, the overthrown ball or the drop. I mean, never mind, it was holding. Either way, but again, those flags are costly mistakes. Collier hands the ball off, who breaks it out left for 3 yards, it looked like there. That was Javon Simpkins on the run there. Gets those penalty yards back here. Coastal will march on Zibafundi, Emil Sebafundi, as they are 4th and 10 from their own 25-yard line. So after about a minute and a half of play of time, they're back right where they started and punting the ball off to Mashall, who should be punting. DeMarcus Lacey will be the punt returner. Like I mentioned, Zebafundi, punter for the Chanticleers. Gets it away clean. Takes it at about the 30-yard line, going up the middle, and is not down yet. Coastal had him wrapped up and ends up coming down at about the 47-yard line.
Couple things right there. Aggressive call right there to take the reception. He was back at about the 25-yard line area by the near Sunbelt logo on the west side of the field. And he had a bunch of defenders converging in his face, and he elected to take that ball out. And then on the first effort as he was taking that forward, he was almost brought down, but the defender tried to wrap him up from behind, and he used the body of the defender to maintain his balance and not go down.
Yeah, great play, great balance to stay up. Mashall will start the drive from their own 46-yard line, up 10-3 with 4 minutes left in the first quarter. Wow, I thought that got handed off. But Del Rio Wilson kept the ball for about a gain of 2 yards to the 1 yard, 2 yards. It'll be second and 9 to 10-ish. Second and 9.
Yeah, and that tackle by Trey Brown, who has quite literally been the all-star on that defense for the Chanticleers. I mean, Trey Brown is an absolute unit of a linebacker and a game changer for the Chanticleers.
Rushing out wide was DeMarcus Lacey, the receiver, slot receiver for Mashall, and he loses 4 yards on the play. It'll be, again, Coastal's defense has been able to stop him. Mashall has not gotten really much going on offense. Coastal defense really helping the offense. 3rd and 13 here from Mashall's own 43-yard line here.
Yeah, the jet sweep there for Mashall did not work. As you said, DeMarcus Lacey was coming in from that right side.
Del Rio Wilson will be 3rd and 13 under the gun in empty set, looking at QB rush up the middle, jukes 1, 2, and is tackled at the Coastal 43-yard line.
Gets the first down.
Yes, he does. That is the big key.
First down.
That was a big run from him. Got first by about 1 yard. That was a 14-yard rush.
And that's that's a great job by Mashall's offensive line there to be able to open up a hole for him to get 13 yards.
Yep. Open up Del Rio Wilson. Keeps it. And is tackled by a gang of Chanticleers, led by number 1, Shane Bruce, the captain of our defense, coming back from last year.
And that's the second time that Antoine Roberts, the running back for Mashall, has drawn Coastal Carolina defensive pressure on one of those fake handoffs that Del Rio has kept.
Yep.
The option game's not really working for Mashall. Let's see if they toss it in the air here.
Del Rio Wilson, yep, and they do. Throws it over the middle, who then gets tackled for a gain of about 7. I believe that went to, was it Adrian?
Number 13.
Yep, Adrian Norton out of Huber Heights, Ohio.
The thing that was interesting there, Mashall looked like they might have gotten away with a false start.
Del Rio Wilson going quick, back to the QB rushes, tries to cut up the middle, but gains maybe 1 yard, back to the line of scrimmage there. Coastal's run defense really showing up here.
And that cut right was big for him, though, because it did get that extra little burst of yards to get him the first down.
Yep.
You know, this really makes me wonder if Mashall's going to go with the deep ball again, because we saw it earlier. If it wasn't for that drop on that deep ball, they would have had a touchdown.
Yep.
So I think sometime soon they're going to have to go deep ball again just to try it out.
Little play right there, messing around with the play, and it works as they hand off to number 4, DeMarcus Lacey, who takes it up the right side to the 5-yard line. Little bit of trickery there before the snap. Bunch of option plays. Fake the handoff, fake the QB rush, turn around, hand it to DeMarcus Lacey, who's coming around the side for the end-around play to the 5.
Yeah, Del Rio really just kind of spun around, did almost a 360 around. Looked for a handoff initially to Roberts, then had one other option, believe it was Brian Robinson, and then left it off to Lacey, who got plenty of yards there, and now the ball's inside the red zone comfortably for the Herd.
Yeah, a little trickery there. Hands it off to Roberts.
And, you know, I wanted to talk about DeMarcus Lacey. I mean, this guy has, you know, he had 11 carries before this game started. He just runs mean. He's like a Deebo Samuel type of wide receiver who you can hand the ball off to because he runs mean. He fights for those extra yards. And we know that football is a yards after contact game. What you can do with yards after contact, you can win.
Yeah, definitely. And that is the first quarter here in Conway, South Carolina. Mashall up 10-3 over the Chanticleers. Mashall with on the 4-yard line of the Chanticleers. 2nd and 4 coming up after the break. You're listening to WCC Radio, Coastal Carolina Student Run Radio Station.
And we are back in Conway for the second quarter. I hope this DJ needs to calm down. There we go.
There we go. We can hear ourselves sync now.
Mashall in Coastal's red zone at the 5. Rio Wilson runs it, gets stopped behind the line for a 1-yard loss by Coastal.
Yeah, Del Rio just ran into a wall right there. He didn't have an initial option and wasn't able to cut to his right-hand side and get out in time before he went down.
Yeah, I think Coastal was kind of predicting that.
Yeah, a herd of Chanticleers were in there to make the stop.
I see what you did there, Chris.
Appreciate it, appreciate it. I try.
It is 3rd and 5 for Mashall in the red zone. This is a big play. Del Rio in the shotgun. Lacey motions left. Del Rio runs to the right side. Tries to find Lacey, and he drops it in the front of the end zone. Chanticleers force a 4th down.
And they're marching out their field goal team out there, which makes sense. They've not been very successful these past 3 plays from inside the 5. Yeah, great red zone stand from the Chanticleers here.
Mashall already had a field goal today.
That one was from 55. This one is much shorter at about
a lot easier for Loker and Quinn.
28, 27.
He's going to take a kick from the 14-yard line. So.
Oh, wait, wow. I was really far off.
It'll be around 27 yards. There you go.
Yeah.
He gets it.
Extra point. Good.
Mashall leads the Chanticleers 13-3 with 14-14 in the second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, I think we go back to the last drive where Coastal forced the Thundering Herd to take a field goal. I think those were both great defensive drives. I mean, obviously you don't want them to get to the 5-yard line, but getting to the 5-yard line, having 3 downs to get in the end zone and not allowing them in, they stood up when it mattered most.
Well, we talked about this a little bit earlier, the comeback that Coastal Carolina had to have against App State on the 18th. Getting very close to that territory, that 14-point territory. Largest comeback that Coastal's ever had since moving up to the FBS was 15 points against Liberty in November of 2023. Really want to avoid that. This drive, important for Coastal to go left to right on your radio dial.
Definitely.
Mashall lines up for the kick. Returning is Malcolm Gilly for the Chanticleers and Dominic Hensley. Gilly tries to return it. He gets to the 20. He gets to the 30. There goes Kinsley to the 40, to the 47. What a return by the Chanticleers.
That's exactly what the Chanticleers need to get the energy back into them. Like you mentioned, 47-yard return there. I think he took it from about the 5-yard line, inside the 5, and already up to the 47-yard line, about half field. That's a great start for the Coastal offense.
And it was Lukinsey Jules for Mashall who had a last-ditch effort at it. He was the last guy who was going to have a shot at him as he ran towards the near side, rather far side Coastal Carolina bench, because he'd gotten through 3 or 4 potential tackles, and it was Jules who had that last chance at him, and he did bring him down.
Yeah, if he didn't, he was gone for a touchdown.
Somali Collier in the shotgun trips right. There goes Simpkins. Simpkins breaks free. He to the 40. A 13-yard gain for the Chanticleers by Javon Simpkins.
Yeah, that's big. Like you mentioned last quarter, keeping it on the ground, running the ball, and we see what happens with that. Breaks out a 13, 14-yard gain right there.
That's the second time you've seen good containment from Mashall. It was Trotter on that far side again, bringing him down with kind of a, like, I don't want to call it a chop tackle, but like the hip.
They give it back to Simpkins. Simpkins fights. Looks about around a 4 to 5 yard gain for the Chanticleers.
Right to the 30-yard line, I would say.
Coastal Carolina rushed for 246 yards against App State, which was a new program record and the second highest in a game for Coastal Carolina beg your pardon on that, but it was a new program record against App State.
Keep it on. I'm sorry.
My bad.
You're good.
Collier back in the shotgun. Motions. Collier drops back. Goes it to the right side. He finds Jameson. My bad, not Jameson Tucker. He finds Bryson Graves, the slot receiver, for around, I believe, a 12-yard gain.
Yeah, I think they're inside the 10 right now, and this is the drive you need from the Chanticleers. Great kick return up to about midfield, and they've looked good getting to the 10-yard line.
Chanticleer's in the hurry-up offense. They run it with Collier. He tries to run up the middle and immediately gets taken down for around a 1-yard gain by Mashall.
Yeah, and that's key for Mashall, slowing down the Chanticleer's offense as they have been able to do whatever they want on this drive so far. You got a 13-yard rush starting the drive, and then you got like a few smaller gains, and you got the Graves completion to the 10. Big key there was stopping them.
Coastal offense in Marshall's red zone. Collier still in the shotgun. Brooks Johnson, the tight end, to the left side. 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Collier drops back. Oh, throws it up the middle.
I want to say
Overthrow.
ran into the ref. We're going to have to... I can't see who that is.
He tried to throw it to Brooks Johnson, but it looks like Brooks Johnson tripped. I don't know if it was on the referee up the middle.
We're gonna get a replay here, but I want to say on first look it looked like he hit the ref,
He sure
and he did hit the
Wow.
ref. Oh my gosh!
That could have been a huge play for the Chanticleers, a touchdown.
Yeah,
But Brooks Johnson fell into the ref. That's a tough blow for the Chanticleers offense.
it's one of the first times I've ever seen that.
Collier drops back, motions. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Looks left. Collier moves up in the pocket. Collier runs, gets taken down, but it looks like a face mask.
Flags on the play.
Saw 5 flags fly out there once he got tackled. Face mask on Mashall. The yardage is half to the distance of the goal, but the reset of downs is the big key there.
Backbreaker right there for the Herd, because Coastal they had Collier wrapped up on that sequence right there. He maybe got a yard or 2, but now not only is it half the distance to the goal, that's a fresh set of downs.
It is a fresh set of downs, and they are only 4 yards away from the end zone. Coastal lines up Collier on the shotgun, 3 wide receivers left side. Simpkins in the backfield. Motions, gives it to Simpkins. Simpkins tries to find a way. Gets pushed, and he is down for only, looks like a 2-yard gain at the 2-yard line.
Yeah,
Marshall's.
I think he might have made it to the 1 with forward progress there.
I think you're right. He looked like he, on that last effort, had gotten to the 1-yard line. We'll see where the mark is. I think they are marking him down to the 2.
2-yard gain for Coastal. They are only 2 yards away from Marshall's end zone.
Second and 2.
Down. They go 2 tailbacks. I believe that is Nicely and Edwards back there, both freshmen. 1 wide receiver on each side of the field. Collier snaps it, hands it off. Looked like Edwards tried to get in there, but I think it was only a 1-yard gain, if not 0.
Inside handoff. 3rd down.
Brings up a 3rd down for the Chanticleers offense. He did get a yard. Now
Yeah.
they're only 1 yard away.
3rd and 1 from the 1-yard line. Big play here. Big play.
See what the Chanticleers draw up.
I think you have to be looking at this as a two-down play, though.
I would agree.
And they are going to amend it and put it back at the 2, so he did not get a gain there.
Collier and shotgun. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. 10-16 left. Collier runs it in. Touchdown, Chanticleers.
That's big. That'll be his 4th touchdown on the ground this year.
I think that was Tad Hudson, actually. I saw number
Was it?
12 on that. I think he came in for that one.
No, it was Collier.
All
number
right,
10.
that's on me. I thought I saw
You're good.
12.
Yep, Collier for the touchdown, just a 1-yard touchdown, but he did lead the Chanticleers all the way downfield for a touchdown.
Good drive from the Chanticleers there, starting at about half field and then being able to execute and with a touchdown.
Chanticleers' extra point is good. Marshall now leads just by 3 points, 13-10, with 10-12 in the 2nd quarter.
Really important drive there to get the score and get it quickly after turning the ball over a couple of times, having opportunities that you look like you left on the table, you get some points.
Definitely.
Teal lights show on the Coastal field today. I think this is the first time they actually got to use the teal lights for a night game.
No, I think
Oh, that's right, CSU.
2 games ago. Or, yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Gonna see how Marshall's offense responds. if they'll actually go to the pass game more, which has been working more often this game than the run game.
Definitely. Mashall, 46 rush yards and 33. Wow. That was just.
And when we get back, we will send it off with the Mashall offense and Coastal's kickoff. We got 10-12 left in the second quarter.
Since 2002.
And we are back in Conway, 10-12 left on the clock. Chanticleer's kicking off back to Mashall. Returning from Mashall, Savion Turner, Bradshaw, and Ben Turner. The Turners. The Turners are the returners.
Exactly.
Little squid kick to the back of the end zone. Did that get? No, it is a flag.
Really? I thought that went outside the corner. I thought it went in the little 90-degree angle thing.
That was literally an inch from the end zone. So Mashall will get great field position here.
Well, is it the 40 like in the NFL?
35-yard line.
35, okay.
Mashall elects to take the 35-yard line instead of forcing the re-kick from Coastal Carolina.
Yep. I mean, Coastal last drive started possession at the 45, and now we just give them 35 yards of free offense.
Try to see what Mashall can do here to battle out.
How they will respond.
The Shirts Off squad is here today.
Where is that?
I think it's right
it's above us. They must be
Rio
cold.
Wilson drops back, hands it off. Looks like around a 5-yard gain.
Yeah, tackled there by Luke Murphy from Ohio. 17 tackles on the year.
And that was Antoine Roberts with the handoff. Antoine Roberts getting a lot of touches this game.
Definitely. Yeah, Antoine Roberts coming to this game, 42 carries for 184 yards, 4.5-yard average, and 2 tutties.
There goes Roberts, gets a little handoff, goes up the middle for a first down for the Thundering Herd.
And once again, you saw Coastal Carolina fall for the trickery a little bit there as it was taken towards the near sideline for Mashall. And ended up the ball was in the hands of Roberts, and he was far forward of the defensive players that were putting the pressure on.
Yeah, I mean, Del Rio Wilson, such a prolific runner that you got to respect him on those draw option plays. 84 carries for 350 yards and 4 touchdowns, adding a touchdown this game.
Rio Wilson drops back, hands it off again to Roberts, only for around a 3 to 4 yard gain.
I think he actually got tripped up close to where the line of scrimmage was, but that was a great job to disrupt the play right there.
Mashall 2nd and 9. Oh, he only got a 1-yard gain. 8:50 left on the clock. Rio Wilson in the shotgun. 2 receivers to the right. Fakes the toss. Sends it up the middle to number 3. That would be Brian Robinson
Covered by Fred Adams there. That will be his 8th tackle on the year.
for about a 20-yard gain.
I'd like to go back to one of my previous statements about Rio Wilson having a touchdown on the ground in this game. He does not. I was thinking of Collier.
There goes Rio Wilson. He finds a way up the middle.
To the 15.
Around an 8-yard gain.
Yep.
If he holds his feet there, he's in for a touchdown. He extended out both of his legs as it was good contact on the tackle with him, and he tried to hold his footing. He holds his footing there, he's in for a touchdown.
Definitely. Mashall does not have a offensive touchdown yet this game. Looking to change it here with a 2nd and 3 from the 16.
Trips right, receivers. Rio Wilson hands it off to Roberts again for just about a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, and he was met in the middle. I want to say by Shane Bruce. No, I don't know by who.
Big 3rd down upcoming here for Coastal Carolina.
Rio Wilson runs it. He gets yardage. He finds a way to the Chanticleer 3. 1st down for the Mashall Thundering Herd.
Once he got to the 2nd level, I definitely thought he was going to break the last tackle at the goal line pretty much and make it in there. But Coastal with some good 2nd level tackling.
Partner, you said that Mashall doesn't have an offensive touchdown yet. At this point, they're knocking on the door, getting there. Last drive stalled it around this territory in the red zone. So you're back to asking this defense, if you're the Chanticleers, to bend and not break.
Exactly.
Mashall with a 2 running back set along Rio Wilson. That is it is Antoine Roberts and Deshaun Barbie. Hands it off to Barbie. Barbie finds a way up the middle. Touchdown, Mashall Thundering Herd.
There's that offensive touchdown for the Herd.
Spoke too soon about not having the offensive touchdown. But yeah, they get on the board. 19-10, looking to make it 20-10 with the PAT here.
Potentially will push the lead back to 10, and once again, you're in that same situation at Coastal. You have to come out of your next drive with points and not let Mashall get too far away from you.
Lokren Quinn looking to get his 2nd extra point of the game?
2nd extra point, yeah.
2nd extra point of the game. He has been perfect so far. Nails it straight through the uprights. Mashall leads 20-10 with 6:49 on the board. We'll be right back after this break. And we are back in Conway after a Mashall touchdown by Deshaun Barbie. Mashall kicks it off.
Let's see if Coastal can get another kick return similar to the last drive that set him up in very good field position.
Malcolm Gilly and Dominic Nicely in the backfield. And they just kick it to the back of the end zone. No risking it to Gilly.
Yeah, I'm shocked they didn't do that last time because the first time they kicked off, or one of the times they kicked off, they kicked it straight through the end zone. And behind the Coastal black end zone, there's like the white thing. It hit past that too, so. No chances this time.
Now we have the Coastal offense coming out on the field on Marshall's 25. On their own 25, sorry. Collier in the shotgun set.
Back to the touchdown for Mashall just for a moment. That was the 4th touchdown of the year for Deshaun Barbie.
Hands it off. That looks like that was to number 23, Dominic Nicely, for just about a 4-yard gain.
Give to the right.
Yeah, that was tackled on the play by Jabril Al-Amin. Junior out of Woodbridge, Virginia, has 28 tackles on the year. Adds to that with 29.
2nd and 8 for the Chanticleers. Collier in the backfield. Motions nicely. Collier throws it up the middle, way behind tight end, number 11, Brooks Johnson.
Yeah, that was behind.
It looked like there was some confusion right there where Brooks Johnson was actually supposed to stop on that route because they just had an interaction. But it'll be 3rd and 8 for the Chanticleers with 6:15 left.
Don't know if it's too early to say, but biggest 3rd down of this half.
Collier whiffed nicely in the backfield, 3 receivers left, 1 to the right. Collier drops back, tries to run it up the middle, fights for extra yardage. Did he get the first down? He's short.
He got up about 2 yards, I want to say, to the 37.
And that's a Coastal Carolina.
Injury timeout. I don't see the injury.
I don't either.
All right.
I'm going to be honest with you. It looks like, first of all, it looks like it's number 4 for Mashall, Jadarius Green McKnight, who's coming off, and I'd be interested if that was some sort, if that was just a simple blood timeout.
Yeah. Collier in the shotgun, pistol formation, 3 receivers to the right.
That definitely got him to as offsides.
See if Collier will go deep here.
Free play.
Goes deep, way overthrown to Carmelo English, but it is an offsides.
Love the idea of going long there on the offsides. Knew he had the free play, aired it out, bit too far.
But it does do the job, moves it forward 5 yards for Coastal, so it'll be from the 45-yard line.
1st and 5.
1st and 5 for Coastal. Let's see if they go it on the ground here or in the air and take a deep shot possibly.
I think they keep it on the ground here, get the 1st down, and then honestly look to air it out probably.
Though they do have their deep guy, Jamison Tucker, on the right side, but they are back in the pistol formation, 3 receivers right. Hard count.
Run to the right. This is going to be weak side, run to the left. Oh, I mean, it is.
Option, flicks it. There he goes. The shot clears to the 20, to the 10. Touchdown.
What did I say? Run to the weak side. I didn't include a pitch in there, but run to the weak side, and that's exactly what they did. Very much Coastal's force was Coastal's strong side to the right. Marshall's strong side was matched up to match him, and the weak side was wide open once he got past the 2nd level.
I mean, you talk about wide open. That there was maybe 10 yards in front of him once he got that pitch.
Yeah. Great play call there. Collier pitching it. Looked like he could have taken it too, pitched it to the outside, and no one was there
and it looked like
for
nicely,
Mashall.
I believe it was nicely with the touchdown.
It was.
Extra point is good. Chanticleer is only down by 3 with 5 minutes and 33 seconds.
That's exactly what Coastal needed right there.
Absolutely.
And this is where Marshall's a little bit suspect. I talked about the amount of points that Marshall gives up. They're not among the worst teams defensively within the Sun Belt, but they're about average, and you've seen that in the amount of points that they've given up total throughout the year.
It's been a high-scoring game so far, 20-17, 37 points already with about 5.5 left in the second quarter here.
Yeah, Marshall 10th in the Sun Belt. They give up just a tick under 31 points a game. 30.9 is the average that this defense for them gives up. So they're 10th in the Sun Belt as far as defense is concerned. So like I said, not towards the bottom 3, but definitely bottom half of average.
Coastal's offense marches downfield to only be down by 3. We're going to take a quick break, but when we get back, 5:33 left in the second quarter. We are back in Conway, 5 minutes, 33 seconds in the second quarter. Marshall leads by 3, 20-17. Coastal kicking off.
Wrapping up a big drive there. We were speaking in the break how much that was needed for the Chanticleer offense and how great of a play call that actually was. We can't stress enough how open that left side of the field was for Nicely to get that 60 or 59-yard touchdown run. Very open.
Coastal kicks it in the back of the end zone. Marshall will take it on the 25.
So we talked about the amount of points that the Herd give up defensively. Since their win against Eastern Kentucky on September the 13th, they've given up 28, 54, 24, and 37 points. If you want to go back further, also gave up 45 points to Georgia, but you can forgive them for that one.
Yeah. Nicely. Before that run, averaged 5.7 yards and had 265 yards on the year.
Dario Wilson knocks it outside. Did not see who the receiver was, but
Lacey. He was able to kick. He was able to throw it out there to Lacey. He got the back in the backfield with him. Roberts was coming from his left-hand side. They faked the handoff, play action there, and off of the play action, he kicked it out to Lacey.
Rio Wilson in the shotgun, 3 receivers to his left. Drops back, looks downfield, throws a deep ball. Oh, incomplete. No flag on the play.
Marshall's going to argue that there was interference on Tamarez, but he initiated the contact right there. He was looking to try to get a flag, and he ran into the defensive back for the Chanticleers, safety Miles Woods, and the officials were not going to give Mashall that gift. That was the right decision right there by the officials to not throw the flag out there. He ran into the safety looking for the flag and didn't get it.
Mashall back in the shotgun, extra tight end on the field. Motions. Rio Wilson tries to run it up the middle. Stop for only a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, I've loved this Coastal defensive line here, this game. Being able to wrap up most of the Mashall runs before they can get to that second level.
This is a Chanticleers defense that has really done a good job in a lot of games this year. Even Coastal's losses, they've done a really good job of keeping them in the game for large portions of it. You think back to the contest against ECU. Coastal was in that game for as long as they were because of the efforts of the defense.
Rio Wilson drops back in the shotgun, finds a wide open man up the middle. That would be Adrian Norton, the junior from Huber Heights.
Pass complete to
I feel like he nearly
first down.
spun back into not getting the first down, but got the first down by 1-2 yards maybe. Nearly gave himself back into the other previous down.
That will be a 12-yard gain for the Mashall Thundering Herd on their 47.
And unfortunately, Coastal's defense just kind of gave him, at the Chanticleer logo in the middle, just open space.
Rio Wilson goes right side, finds Lacey, who has been very active this game, just gets around, I'd say, 4 to 5 yards on that play to the right.
Pass complete.
Yeah, going back to last play, Coastal just gave up a free play, essentially, free 10 yards to Mashall for the first down. I don't think there was a Chanticleer within 7 yards of him.
Yeah. Good play call by Mashall. Back in the shotgun once again, Rio Wilson. 2 receivers to his left, tries to throw it on the right side on a wheel route to the running back, Antoine Roberts, who has been very active this game. Not so much in the receiving game, though. Tries to get it to him there, but no go.
And he stuck his right hand up. He tried to one-hand that ball as it was sailing over his head.
Big Chanticleer third down here, 3rd and 5 on Mashall's 48 from Mashall. Coastal will look to get a stop here, 3:20 left in the half.
Mashall, same formation, throws it to Roberts on a screen pass. Roberts gets tackled down!
That was Miles Woods on the tackle there. Great open field tackle.
Tackle for loss.
Great job by Miles Woods. Only, I'd say, a 1-yard gain by Mashall. Forces them to a 4th and 5 with the punting crew coming out
Yeah,
for the Herd.
Ball marked down on the 47 right there. That was an all or nothing play right there. If Woods isn't able to bring him to the ground, he's got maybe 10, 15 yards of space in front of him.
Mashall close side to Coastal's field. Gonna punt it, try to notch it in. Short punt.
Yep.
Fair catch on the 11-yard line for Coastal.
Graves recovering from his bobble, one of the past few punts, and able to take the fair catch at, like you mentioned, 13-yard line-ish.
Yeah, Bryson Graves in that situation, conservative. We saw Mashall elect to return a ball when there was a bunch of pressure coming into the returner in that instance, and Graves not going to waste any time here. Coastal just gets to stop. Now you're in a position where you can go out, tie this game at a minimum.
Yeah, 2:35 left on the clock. Coastal with all 3 timeouts left. Coastal will have a drive starting at their own 13. 2.5 minutes, 2:35, and they also have the 2-minute timeout newly added to college football this year.
Coastal going to the same formation that got them a touchdown last time. 3 receivers to the right side. Collier in the back. Hands it off to Simpkins, only for about a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, right up to the 15-yard line there.
Inside run.
Chanticleers try to get it downfield with 2:22 left on the clock. 2nd and 8 for the Chanticleers on their 15.
Time is ticking down. I wonder if they take a snap before the 2-minute timeout. Looks like they're going to run it down to the timeout though. Yep. There's no intensity here.
Yep.
5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and that is the 2-minute timeout.
We have hit the 2-minute warning. It is 20-17. Mashall with the lead. 2 minutes left in the second quarter. Coastal on their 15, 2nd and 8, and we'll be back right after this break. back in Conway after the 2-minute warning. Marshall leads 20-17. Coastal on their 15, 2nd and 8.
Yeah, Coastal elected to just run out until the 2-minute timeout. We'll see how that plays out for them. They still have all 3 timeouts left on their own 15.
Coastal does have 3 of their timeouts. This could be an advantage for them to at least tie the game up. Collier on the shotgun. 3 receivers to the left side, 1 to the right.
A little bit of sorting something out before giving Coastal the permission to get in the snap formation.
Collier runs on the right side. Only gets about a yard.
Yeah, no, he definitely did get a yard.
Yeah, just 1.
Keeper by Collier.
I don't know if I like that play call.
Well, you see right there, Coastal sticking heavy with the rush game right now. Mention that 180 yards plus number 4-0 this season are the Chanticleers. They're about 2/3 of the way there with 126 yards at this point in the contest.
Half of those came off of the one Dominic Nicely rush for touchdown.
3rd and 7 for the Chanticleers. Absolutely no urgency at all for the Chanticleers. Just the clock going down to 1:20. Collier drops back, tries to run again. Fights his way up the middle for just about a 5-yard gain.
I would not be shocked if Marshall takes a timeout here, and it looks like they will.
Second timeout of the half for the Herd. And the thing that's interesting here is I wonder if Coastal Carolina was just trying to burn as much clock on this as they could, because there wasn't really any forward progress interest right there.
Yeah, 3 straight runs, no sense of urgency there. And again, I've mentioned this a few times here, but Coastal, all 3 timeouts, they elect to not go for getting points at the end of the half and looking to just run out the clock.
And I wonder if they did that just because they were so far on their side of the field.
Yeah.
And they don't want to make any mistakes shooting themselves in the foot, even though they have many times this game.
Well, the one thing you do have to worry about if you're the Chanticleers, Marshall won the toss and deferred the choice to the second half, so they'll kick off to start the second half, or rather, they'll receive to start the second half. And the thing here is, with 1:13, 1 timeout for Marshall, I'd be surprised if...
I could see Coastal fake punting here. I could see the Coastal, with how close they are, I want to say about a half a yard away. I mean, there's no one under center directly, but I could see it.
I see what you're saying, but there's too much risk if you do fake punt right here.
Sabafandi in the back punting the ball for Coastal.
Yep, and
it is a punt. Goes downfield for about, I'd say 45 yards in the air. Goes down at the
27-ish?
Marshall 29.
Neutral bounce there. It didn't come back a whole lot. It popped right back up into the air on that far sideline once it went down inside that far 30-yard line. Didn't bounce back for Coastal, but didn't bounce back forward for Marshall either. So neutral bounce there, and Marshall has 65 seconds with a ball on the 29-yard line for them. And back to the previous point that I was saying, they start off with the ball in the second half. So only 1 timeout here. I'd be surprised if Marshall was able to get enough yards to get points here, but they are close to him. We've already seen them hit a long field goal before, so they might be able to steal 3 before halftime.
Marshall gets on the field, 105, the offense, snaps back. Rushes outside, there is a flag on the field. Throws it, it is dropped incomplete on the right side. Let's see what the flag is.
Incomplete going to Toby Payne, I believe.
Thought it was going to be offensive holding, it is, so that'll push Marshall back to the 24.
Now if you're Marshall, elect to run out the clock here. Possibly.
Possibly, I can see that.
I mean, you're going to be a 1st and 20 at, what's that, your 19-yard line?
It is 59 seconds on the clock for Marshall's offense.
Beg your pardon, that's on me. Mixed up 5 and 10-yard penalties.
They do hand it off to, I believe that is Roberts. Only for a 2-yard game. I believe they will run the clock out. 50 seconds left.
Yep, and Coastal not electing to take a timeout either. Looks like both teams are in agreement to take this to halftime the way it is.
Again, Marshall receiving the kickoff out of the halftime break as they won the coin toss and elected to defer. So with Coastal not able to capitalize and pick up points on that last drive, Marshall will have a chance after the halftime break to push their lead back to 10.
Marshall not going for a kneel here, seeing if they could get something with a run, just in case. They hand it off to Roberts. Robert goes up the middle, finds a gap. He runs to the left side, gets tackled, and it is the official 10-second mark, and clock goes down.
Wayne to finish the play.
Yeah, strong
for Coastal.
Strong tackle from him there and good presence as Roberts almost bit the Shants right at the break.
We have reached halftime here in Conway. Marshall leads 20-17. When we get back, Sun Belt matchup, post game.
And we welcome you back after halftime, Jack Sargent. And we welcome you back after halftime. Jack Sargent, Chris Lafferty, Braxton Miller with you. The Marshall Thunder and Herd lead 20-17 over the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. We'll get into some of the keys from that first half. Just give you a little look at the stats coming out of halftime. Sebastian Collier, 4 of 11, 76 yards, an interception, no touchdowns. On the other side, Del Rio Wilson for the Herd, 9 of 15, 78 yards, does not have a touchdown. Marshall's done their damage on the rushing side, 104 yards for them and a touchdown. That touchdown was for Joshawn Barbie. On the Coastal Carolina side, 20 rushes for 132 yards, a pair of touchdowns, one for Dominic Nicely, the other one for Sebastian Collier. So that no touchdown was for the passing column for Collier. My friends, what do we have to see from the Chanticleers to take this one out, trailing by a field goal at halftime?
You know, I would like to see a lot more play-action plays. Yes, you might not have the best throwing quarterback back there, but you have the receivers that get open. I want to see more fake runs. You get those guys open, big gains is what the Chanticleers need, and that will help.
Love the play-action pass call there from Braxton. I would also love to see that, or the options to, you know, whether that be the run option. We saw that with the Nicely touchdown. Perfectly played. The toss out, the pitch out, gave him the long running room there. I'd also love to see the play action, like you mentioned there, fake the run, because we have had 132 yards on the ground. You know, when you have the run game going, it opens up the passing option. I'd like to see a little bit more passing this half.
So the Herd won.
Like to stay away from Boogie Trotter as well. Just don't throw in his direction.
So the Herd won the toss at the start of the contest, elected to defer the choice to the second half. It'll be Xavier Turner Bradshaw back in the end zone to receive as the Chants kick this one off, and Bradshaw just lets that one bounce at the Chanticleers logo inside the end zone. Marshall will be going from left to right across your radio dial. Another touchback here, and taking a look at some of the other statistics that are important right now. Time of possession relatively even. The Herd 16.5, round that number up. Time of possession, Coastal Carolina 13:30, so 13.5 minutes for the Chants, a 3.5 minute advantage in time of possession for the Herd. Hasn't really been able to tell all that much, but we'll see where that goes from here as there is motion from that far side. The handoff is to Roberts, and he runs into a mass of bodies and goes to the ground.
That time possession thing is very interesting, because if you had just told me Marshall or Coastal had the 3.5 more minutes of possession, I would have believed you. With the way this game's looked, Coastal looks like they are always on offense, but Marshall 3 minutes better in time possession.
Del Rio Wilson and rolls out to his right, throws. That pass is completed for the wide receiver Tamarez. He's brought down just a touch in front of the 35-yard line.
And you know, that's something you see a lot of the time from this Herd offense, is that most of the passes that are completions are when they roll out to the right side. So if Coastal has got to figure out how to stop that specifically.
Yeah, that was tackled on the play by Jamarian Wayne as well.
Near hash mark set up the snap and now handed off from the left-hand side. It's Roberts taking it to this side, gets a block. Roberts still has some open space to the 20-yard line, cuts around one, and he is wrapped up and brought out at around the 10-yard line. What a run from Roberts.
I believe that might have been Fred Adams combining with another Chanticleer defender to force him out of bounds.
And you know, and that's been tough. That's been so tough for the Chanticleer defense, is that misdirection run. They have been losing so much ground off of that.
Keeper right here by Del Rio Wilson. He runs forward and is brought down. Gain of maybe 1 or 2 inside the 10-yard line to the 9.
Yeah, Herd keep it on the ground and get a nice 40-yard rush out of Antoine Roberts, who has been the guy today. With that big run, Marshall now up to 160 yards on the day, or rush yards on the day.
Make it 162 after that last game. They have taken the lead in the rush department. They're going to try it again with Del Rio Wilson. He is brought down at around the 7-yard line. So another pair of yards will bring up a 3rd and 6.
That was a very interesting formation by the Marshall Thunder and Herd there, lining up their right tackle at receiver in that play. Definitely an odd play, and it didn't gain much at all.
Yeah, I would say that's their second attempt at a trick play. Earlier in the year, they had that earlier in the game, they had that read option play with like 3 different people going, and that broke out for a big gain. That one did not.
Left hash mark. Del Rio Wilson takes the snap, goes for the end zone. That ball is caught for a touchdown by Tamarez.
There was no Chanticleer defender within 5 yards of him. That was a wide open corner of the end zone touchdown there.
I think the Chanticleer defense really thought it was going to be another run up the middle, and they just left the guy coming across to the right side wide open. Great play call by Mashall and great touchdown by Tamarez.
Yeah, great play call and also great play call timing there. Pretty much the entire rest of the drive was all on the ground. Coastal, like you mentioned before, thought it was going to be on the ground and just didn't match up right.
Run commit did not work for the Chanticleers. This extra point is up and off the Brooks Stadium side to make the lead 10 for the Herd.
Yeah, 27-17. You talked about that at the end of the first half. I want to say how big that Mashall deferring was going to be, and Mashall capitalized on that with a 10-point lead with 12:45 left, so only 2:15 into the second half, and they're already back up by 10.
The other thing that happened on that drive is Roberts is up over 100, couple ticks up on that number, 102 yards from his 11 attempts, and that long rush of 54 yards does the lion's share of that work there, as the Chanticleers will have to recover.
Yeah, I mean, that drive, perfect for Mashall, all you could ask for. Nice, long drive, took 2 minutes, and you scored the touchdown, which is the big key at the end of it. 12:45 left in the third quarter.
So Coastal Carolina will once again trail 10 as this is played into the end zone for a touchback, and the Chants will be content to just take the yardage there. And Coastal has been able to match Mashall through this contest. So this is the critical point of the game, though. If you're going to give up points, you have to be able to come back and respond, because this is a Herd team that you haven't been able to consistently hold them off the scoreboard through 30 minutes.
And you made a point earlier about how the defense has kept Coastal in a lot of these games. You brought up the ECU game. They were down 13-0 at halftime. That bubbled up to 38-0 final score. So that defense was able to hold on until halftime. Offense couldn't give them any help, couldn't get them off the field, and ECU's offense wore them out. Hoping the same thing does not happen in this game.
So Collier lines up, Coastal going right to left on your radio dial. He hands it off there to Simpkins, who stays up there, used his hands to support his balance, and that got him an extra maybe 7 or 8 yards.
Yeah, if he broke that tackle there, he was gone. He had daylight in front of him. Great tackle by Mashall.
And if the run game is not broken, then don't fix it.
Yeah.
Keep going with the run game. I know we talked about wanting to see the pass game, move around a bit, because you think the run game would get too predictable, but so far, it's not broken.
The Herd averaging just about 30 points given up on the season, as this handoff is again for Simpkins. He went to his right side and has brought down a touch inside the 30-yard line to the 32 for the Chants.
I think they went back 1 yard there. Actually, never mind. Nope.
So this will bring
back to the line of scrimmage.
So this will bring up a 3rd and 3. Ball is on the 31-yard line. So you were right there, partner.
Right.
Important 3rd down for Coastal here to not go 3 and out, because there's not a big advantage in the time of possession right now, but a quick 3 and out could change that. This snap is Collier. He throws, and that ball is complete. Cutting around there is that far receiver for the Chants, Gill. He has some space inside the 20, 10, touchdown!
And it is those explosive plays that win you football games. Great play call and great job by Gilly for making a move once he got the ball. Open field wide ahead. Amazing play call by the Chanticleers.
Yeah, he was one-on-one in coverage there. Just a little zig right there. Cut inside, then cut back out. Collier finds him, breaks one tackle, and daylight in front of him. Touchdown.
Just what the doctor ordered. You talk about needing to keep pace with this Herd offense. Coastal Carolina able to do it in, 5 plays?
Yeah, maybe 4.
So the Chants will now look for the extra point to officially make this a 3-point game, and they get it.
Extra point at 10 is good.
27-24. Mashall still leads. 11:25 left in the third.
So it will swing back the Herd's direction now inside 11 and a half minutes, 11:26 in this third quarter. Again, a game that is very important for both sides as far as standing implications are concerned. Talked about it a little bit earlier. JMU 5-0.
We'll be back with WCC Radio for after break.
And we welcome you back here after a Chanticleer touchdown. We'll give you the numbers on that one for Coastal Carolina. A 69-yard touchdown run for Malcolm Gilly. Malcolm Gilly is a, beg your pardon, didn't have the town for him for you immediately.
From Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That'll be his 6th or 7th reception on the year, adding to the 1 touchdown to make it 2 touchdowns on the year.
So this is kicked out by Coastal, and it will go way out of the end zone for the touchback. Mashall content to take the touchback once again. It was Daniel Harris, rather Turner Bradshaw, who was in the end zone for that touchback.
And I want to see if they go back to the run game. They just had explosive runs all game, which has carried their momentum. I wouldn't doubt that they would go back to this run game here.
Yeah, Coastal Carolina sitting at about 280 yards compared to Marshall's about 250. So Coastal with about a 30-yard advantage.
So Joshawn Barbie's now in the backfield. He's the right-hand side of Del Rio Wilson, as Marshall set up on the left-hand side hash mark, and they do a screen pass out to Joshawn Barbie. He bobbled it. That's a live ball, and who comes up with it? Coastal's pointing their football. Shots faithful want it for Coastal. We do not have a signal yet, and it's Coastal's.
I did not see who came up with the ball. I believe that was number 4, Lionel Raker, who came up with the ball for Coastal Carolina. It looked like they were trying to set up like a double pass almost, to where the quarterback would pass it to the receiver, who would then pass it deep, drawing all the Coastal defenders to the receiver who's going to pass it. But they just never executed that properly.
So we've talked about the Chanticleer turnovers this evening, and Coastal, right after getting the touchdown, have a chance to take their first lead of the contest.
Inside the red zone here. I'm surprised. I'm sure they're probably looking at this to make sure the ball actually went backwards. It wasn't a forward pass, but I believe that was a backwards pass and a fumble.
I think it was too, and it caught me off guard because I thought it may have been a forward pass, but it will be Chanticleer's football from the left side hash mark.
18-yard line here. Coastal needs to capitalize.
Optimum position for Coastal as this ball is handed off, and it is Simpkins to run into a mass of bodies, gain of a few.
Mashall had one of these possessions where they got the turnover from Coastal inside. Was it like the 30-yard line or something like that? Not able to do anything with it, and now it'll be Coastal's turn looking to see if they can get a touchdown.
Beg your pardon there. I thought he got a couple yards here on that one. He went back to the line of scrimmage. No gain. Officially did get a yard, so it will be Collier to take the snap. He throws it out, right side, touchdown! And right on cue, it's Graves, and Coastal has the lead.
That is the most open touchdown I've ever seen in my life. All of Mashall is still on the line of scrimmage. He runs right past them. Free touchdown, no Thundering Herd player in 15 yards, maybe more. There was definitely a communication error or something for Mashall.
And you see how much momentum matters in the game of football. That right there was a mishap between Mashall and their defenders. They have got to be better. Wide open touchdown for Coastal.
Aferte makes the lead for Coastal 4. It's 31-27.
Coastal flips the script like that. Touchdown on the last possession. 3-4 total plays later, and they're back in the end zone, kicking it back off to Mashall. 31-27, 10:45 left in the third quarter, 14 points. And like I mentioned, the past 2 minutes.
So second passing touchdown for Sebastian Collier.
There is a Chanticleer injured on the ground. I can't make out who it is, but it would make sense if it's like the long snapper.
So we'll take a step aside while this injury is sorted out. Back here from Brooks Stadium, Samari Collier just what the doctor ordered. Coastal gets points off the turnover, have the lead, 31-27. Jack Sargent, Chris Lafferty, Braxton Miller with you here on a beautiful Thursday night, introducing this Hollow weekend here at Conway.
Yeah, definitely a great night. Has started to get a lot cooler. I have 3 layers on right now, and my hands are cold. Great night otherwise.
Well, after it's been a rainy, cold week all week here in Conway, as this kickoff is underway, and Mashall will let it bounce inside the end zone for the touchback again. It was sunny and clear all day today, and that siphoned into a clear night. There does not look to be a cloud in the sky, not a bright moon.
Yeah, it was like you mentioned earlier with like 2 minutes ago, with the raining all week. Glad that held off for tonight. Beautiful day earlier in Conway, South Carolina. Sunny and like 65 during midday. Has since dropped to about, I want to say like 50 degrees right now, but clear, no rain, no wind. Beautiful night for football.
So the Herd looking to bounce back off of a turnover. This snap is thrown out to this near side logo, right-hand side. Going around is the receiver for the Herd, Lacey, and he is brought down just around the 30-yard line.
You know, that's kind of odd that they swing it right side after what happened last drive. That's when they swung it right side.
I was shocked they did that again. I would have thought they would have kept it on the ground, handoff, and just played it safe, at least on the first play, then maybe get into swarm passing, but right back to the air.
Right side hash mark near logo. Handoff is to Roberts. He runs through the middle, bounced off one, tried to cut back around, and he was stopped halfway between the 32 and the 33.
Third down here for Mashall again.
157 rushing yards for Mashall. They were up as high as 162. They have gone backwards, make it 159 after that gain there. 3rd and 3, ball on the 32-yard line. Alone in the backfield is Del Rio Wilson. Now motioning in from the far side is Roberts. He's to the right side of Del Rio Wilson, who takes the snap. He drops back, throws over the middle, intercepted! And Coastal Carolina gets back-to-back turnovers, but he loses the ball again. However, Coastal Carolina able to fall on it, I believe.
I want to say that was Dante Lunan that got the interception for Coastal, then get it stripped, and then I believe a defensive lineman for Coastal hopped on the ball, Coastal ball inside the 27-yard line.
And that is a very rare interception by Del Rio Wilson right there, but that is what happens when your defense has momentum. You apply pressure, and that is exactly what happened. Del Rio Wilson throws an interception. Great job by the Chanticleers.
We talked about in the open about Del Rio's touchdown to interception ratio, 12 touchdowns to 1 interception through the air, and that'll be his second interception of the year.
So once again, Coastal Carolina set up in optimum position. A little bit further back, they started the last offensive drive at the 18. They'll start this one at the 27-yard line, it looks like, as Collier takes this snap and hands it off. A little bit of trickery here by Coastal. Flea flicker, that is dropped. Oh, the crowd exploded as Collier on that little end-around play there, the receiver pass.
That's Bryson Graves, who's had a few of those pass attempts through the season. I want to say that was his 4th or 5th pass of the year. I don't know if he's completed one, but that was beautiful play. It was a little end-around into a pass to Collier, and then Collier just drops it. So it would have been close whether he got in or not, but it definitely would have been the first.
Collier is nicely on his right-hand side, tried to get a Herd to jump, almost did Mashall, but not quite. 9-19, 2nd and 10, ball still at the 27 as Collier takes the snap and tosses it out right side, nicely wrapped up.
And you know, I wanted to talk about that trick play. That is not something odd you see out of the offensive coordinator, Drew Hollingshed, who came out of Western Kentucky, and we know that pass offense is heavy on the pass. So it's not odd to see trick plays like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if we draw one up right here, something just like that.
Something I want to quickly add, Coastal's third quarter is like a reverse of their first quarter, or a reverse of Marshall's first quarter. Marshall had got a few turnovers, was not able to capitalize as much as Coastal. Coastal has gotten 2 turnovers, capitalized on 1.
Collier trying to capitalize off of that turnover. He will not. Gets to the 25-yard line maybe, but it will bring up a 4th down as that quarterback keeper did not work for the Chanticleers. Coastal still with a chance to get points off of this turnover.
Be about a 42-yarder. Yeah, setting up for a 42-yard field goal. Like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he's 2 for 2 from 40 to 49, and he's 8 for 8 after the field goal earlier today.
So it'll be from the right hash mark for Keon Offertay, who was successful who has been successful, I should say, on all of his extra point attempts, as Coastal looks to build the lead, and they will.
He's now 3 for 3 from the 40 to 49 yard range. Coastal up 34-27.
So 34-27, they make it a 6-point lead. We'll take a quick step aside, come back. Back here after a field goal from Coastal Carolina, Jack Sargent, Chris Lafferty with you. Braxton Miller coming right up as the Chanticleers able to get points off of consecutive turnovers. And it will be Aferte after that successful field goal to kick this one away. Looks like Mashall right now. I'm going to assume that Mashall is going to be content to receive, or to elect it to go back for the touchback.
Definitely, yeah. I'm very interested to see how Mashall respond after 2 straight turnovers. Coastal responded pretty well, honestly, after they give up the 2 turnovers to start the game as well.
So a kick up that's popped up into the air, and they will have to return it. This is taken in by Mashall and cutting inside around the 25 down to the 30. And inside of that was Avion Turner Bradshaw.
Yeah, and Jacob Robinson was in there for Coastal on the tackle.
So I'll ask you guys, Mashall, after consecutive turnovers, what do they need to do to clean it up? Obviously, the obvious answer is score points, but after turning it over twice, what do you need to see from the Herd?
They got to stop shooting themselves in the foot. That's what it comes down to. This offense has been great all game till the second half. What happened in that locker room? Stop shooting yourselves in the foot. Be protective of the ball. That's all they have to do.
I think Mashall will come out with a run to start and get moved back to the 10-yard line. Must have been a holding or some sort of penalty on the return to where that negates about 20 yards of the return.
So right hash mark for Del Rio Wilson. He has Roberts in the backfield, hands it off there. Roberts still on that right side, dives forward, and will be marked down around the 15-yard line.
Again, one of those misdirections again that just they gained over 5 yards every single time. So if Mashall just wants to keep doing that, it's been working for them all game.
So right hash mark again. Del Rio Wilson has Roberts his right-hand side, drops back, looks to throw. He throws it. That pass is intercepted. Another Chanticleer interception. It's brought this way, and he's brought down inside the 25-yard line.
I don't know. I wanted to say this before, but I think they got to keep it on the ground until they got the first down. Del Rio Wilson does look like he's limping coming off the field.
There is a flag down in the backfield, so we'll wonder if this might come back.
I don't think it will. I think
during the return. Blindside block on Coastal. So we'll move it back 15 yards for Coastal, but they do have the football.
I would not be shocked if that blindside block was against Del Rio Wilson as he came up limping.
That block was on Del Rio Wilson. I watched the whole thing. It definitely was a flag on the field, but again, it doesn't matter. All they do is draw back 15 yards, but Coastal gets the ball.
So unfortunate that it does negate some of the return yardage. Ball will start at the 39-yard line from the central portion of the field. Samari Collier standing at the 45-yard line where he'll take the snap. He's got it back to his right-hand side and rinse and repeat.
On interceptions there.
Rinse and repeat here, guys. A third turnover in a row for the Herd. Collier keeps it, runs forward through the middle, tries to spin around, and is brought down at the 32, maybe 33-yard line.
Yeah, I thought he had a lot more yards there that he could have gained, but Mashall closed in that gap quickly. And going back to the interception play, that was tipped by, I want to say it was tipped by like Shane Bruce, I think. And then Miles Woods able to come up with the interception. But
so far hash mark as Collier has one to his left-hand side. He takes the snap, a little bit of a high snap, but brings it down. He'll look forward again, gets off of one. Collier bounces off of a second down inside the 30.
And that is just the game-changing ability that Collier has been playing with all season. These past two games, even against App State, his legs, him evading the sack, has won Coastal these football games.
Yeah, Coastal, going back to the App State game, really turned it up in the second half, and they are looking to do the pretty much same thing today. 3 good possessions from the defense. And then
3rd and 1 at the 30. Collier kept it and got the first down, and plenty more after that, probably 4 yards after it to the 26.
Got enough for the first down, which is what counts at that point. Coastal's now up to the Herd 27-yard line.
Coastal Carolina getting very close to that 180-yard number. 4-0 this year in all the wins. More than 180 yards, up to 151 right now, as Collier takes the snap and handed it off to a group of 3. This is taken to the near side, bouncing off of one, cutting inside, and now brought down at the end of the play. That was Javon Edwards to take it inside the 10-yard line and bring Coastal to the red zone.
Yeah, great rush there. Started to the left, coming to the close side of us, off the left side of the line, jukes back inside to get an extra like 5 yards.
So it looks like it will be a one-back field right now with Nicely on the left hash mark as the other 2 backs, Simpkins and Edwards, check out.
I would not be surprised if Coastal goes for a passing play on this first down.
I think it's a play-action pass.
So we run inside 5 minutes, 34-27. Collier runs forward, runs into an offensive lineman, still has momentum forward, and now forward progress. Stops to the 7, and he's brought down tough after the play. Might be some extracurriculars here. Crowd didn't like that hit.
Yeah, he was brought down by Tyus Martin, who gave him a little extra shove as he was going on the ground. Coastal didn't like it, fans didn't like it.
But he spun right up after that and was just ready to take it right back. It'll be him and Simpkins in the backfield, 3 set right. On 2nd and 7, we'll see if Coastal will go away from the run game or stick with what's working.
174 rush yards, 6 yards away.
They will go to the pass game here as he is flushed out right. Doesn't have an angle for it, now gets rid of it. That pass incomplete.
You would love to see Collier at least try to get out of the pocket faster than how long he stayed. A lot of guys running to the right side. I just think that play was kind of blown up since the beginning.
Yeah. Go.
I was going to say, definitely looked like it was as he was flushed out to his right. Didn't have any of his first 3 reads.
Yeah. I'm surprised, like, he was nearly sacked, got the ball out just in time to a receiver, so it wasn't grounding, or it wouldn't have been anyway.
So Collier with Simpkins to his left-hand side, 2 set each side, left and right. From the left hash mark, Collier takes the snap, will keep it himself again, try to get 4 to the 5, maybe got to the 6.5, and he's brought down, and it will bring up.
Inside keeper.
It has literally looked like Mashall has kept a QB spy on that play the whole time, because once Collier broke, the linebacker broke right with him.
That was Javi Gilmore on the tackle there, on the stop, stood Collier up at the line of scrimmage, didn't allow him to gain any yards.
So second consecutive offensive drive off of a turnover that will stall for the Chanticleers as Afrute looks to give Coastal a 10-point lead, and he has. So Coastal Carolina able to get points off of 3 consecutive turnovers. Would have loved if you're the Chanticleers to get the touchdown there, but you certainly will not take making this a 2-possession game, pushing it up to a 10-point lead.
Definitely. Now Coastal's up by 10, like you mentioned. Mashall, for a lot of the game, was up by that 10-point mark. Coastal now flips the script on them, 10-point lead, 174 yards on the ground for Coastal, 162 in the pass, and like we mentioned, this entire broadcast, 180 rush yards is the key for Coastal.
You really have to wonder what Marshall's going to do on offense to switch it up, because everything that they've been doing these past 3 drives has not worked.
Yeah, they've tried to go through the air, and I think they've dug themselves a hole to where they may need to start passing, as we're coming down to the last 3.5 minutes left in the third, so last 18 minutes left in the game, down by 10, that's when you look to start passing, but with how unsuccessful their passing has been, I think you've got to keep it on the ground to at least not turn the ball over.
And with the way that this contest has looked tonight, I don't think it's sustainable to try to outrush the Chanticleers if you're the Herd.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Herd's only 11 yards short of Coastal, but they are down by 10. Coastal does have that 10-point advantage.
So this is taken inside the end zone. It will be returned, and he has an angle through. Flag comes in right there as he is brought down at the 35, or close to the 35-yard line. So Turner Bradshaw returning, but we will sort out what the penalties are. 3 of them came in.
Looked like a holding on the returning side.
Yeah, I think this play will be coming back to the 20.
2 fouls on the play, both on the return team. Holding, number 85. That penalty is declined.
So a holding penalties declined.
That penalty is accepted.
2 penalties for the Herd.
From the spot of the foul.
And it'll be back to the 11. I must say, something we hadn't talked about, but these penalties on kickoffs have been killing Mashall the last 2 possessions. Last possession, they got it to like the 35, I want to say, on the kick return, and they were backed up back to the 10-yard line. This thing, same story here, got the return out to the 30, back to the 10.
You really limit your play calling when you don't have as much space for your QB in the backfield. So we got to see what Mashall does here. Can they get at least 2 Coastal's 25?
So Del Rio Wilson kept it, tried to run into a massive Chanticleers and was not able to. Maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. And talking about the penalty situation right here, Coastal Carolina is a very disciplined team. They're within the top, I have to go back and reference the number here, but Coastal Carolina is within the top half of the country as far as least penalized teams go, as this clock winds under 3 minutes, 2 minutes 48 seconds.
The fans are into it. There's a seating section above us, and we can hear them tapping or like stomping their feet.
I think that's the
with
no
defense.
shirt squad. That's the shirtless squad above us.
So the handoff went for Mashall, number 9, Justin Williams-Thomas, and he was able to take it close to the 20-yard line on first down.
And the good thing for Mashall is that all those scores have been very quick, so they are not out of this game at all. They scored a touchdown. They're only behind by 3.
Yeah. I think that was key on there. That was a great rush by same here with Justin Williams-Thomas. Justin Williams-Thomas, yeah, on the carry there, getting a first down and then getting another 8 or so yards on the next rush here. He's at about, 16 yards already on this drive. So keeping it on the ground, definitely key for Marshall. It worked in the first half, went away from it at the start of the second.
So
and now back it.
This is what you need for the herd, as Del Rio Thomas looked right. Coastal may have jumped before the play, so we'll sort this out. When the penalty comes in, bad time to say this, but Coastal ranks 50th in the FBS as far as least penalized teams in the nation, and it was an offside jump.
Zeke Campbell made a great play on the defensive line for Coastal, getting to Del Rio Wilson quickly and making sure he did not get back to the line of scrimmage.
And all Marshall did was a delayed snap there. He snapped it. It just took an extra second. That's all they had to do, and it worked.
Yeah, they had a free play there. Great for Coastal to not allow anything big on that free play.
So Williams-Thomas back in the backfield with Del Rio Wilson. He takes the snap and hands it off. Fake that handoff. Rather throws it near side for Lacey, who almost lost his footing but stayed up and loses the ball. Fortunately for the herd, it rolled out into their bench. So it will be a first down and no harm.
Yeah, that fumble was caused by Dante Thomas, safety for Coastal Carolina. Great getting the helmet on the ball to force the ball to come out. Again, ball rolls out of bounds. Marshall retains possession, but that is 4 turnovers, or that's 4 balls on the ground in the past 4 drives.
Lacey in the backfield.
2nd and 4 as this ball is handed off again to Williams-Thomas, and he's got an open field but is brought down just at the edge of the Chanticleer logo, and that will bring up a new set of downs for the herd.
And you see when they put Lacey in the backfield, it gets Coastal's defense thinking, oh, are they going to throw a screen pass to one way, or is he going to go another way?
So he keeps it, rather gave it off to Williams-Thomas again. And Williams-Thomas has had the majority of the touches in this third quarter.
Zamarian Gordon getting in there for Coastal's defense, making the big tackle there. He's hyped about it, tapping on his helmet after.
Under 30 seconds now as it is at the 41-yard line. Del Rio Wilson keeps it this time, runs into a mass of bodies, still up on his feet and is brought down. Ball looks like it came out again, and the Chanticleers are signaling that they have it as of now. Wait for the ruling right here, but this may be 4 in a row, and it is.
4 turnovers on 4 consecutive drives. Earlier, I did want to say something about how they got away with one there with Marshall not fumbling. And then they capitalize on with a 60-yard rush, but that very next play, Del Rio Wilson turns the ball over with the fumble. Coastal again, defense is the story of the game right here. 4 turnovers, last 4 drives.
Again, this is some Marshall team that's never really made mistakes like this before. Del Rio doesn't throw interceptions, he doesn't really fumble, but again, 4 turnovers and 4 drives. This is a very impressive job by Coastal's defense.
We always knew it. Coastal's defense was always a bit better than the offense, especially this year, keeping them in the games. But man, this defense has come to play tonight.
I mean, they were seeking the force the fumble on that, but I just saw punches thrown in there.
And I think when you get to that point, Marshall really needed to do something special to stop the Coastal Carolina momentum. Again, 3 straight drives with turnovers. You got to have that in your thinking that in your head. If you're Marshall, you just can't turn the ball over, and that's exactly what they do. Coastal went for it.
So handoff right with 11 seconds left, right at the end of the quarter. That will take us into the break in the third quarter. Coastal leads by 10. It's 37-27. We'll be back for the fourth quarter here from Conway.
Welcome back to the fourth quarter between Coastal Carolina and Marshall. It's been a great game, especially in the third quarter. A lot of action. Coastal with all the momentum right now, up by 10.
Yeah, and we're going to get into some turnover numbers. Coastal Carolina came into today having forced 6 fumbles, which in terms of the Sun Belt had them tied with a massive teams. They're going to move into second. Well, they have moved into second, having forced those 2 fumbles today. They're tied with Old Dominion with 8 forced fumbles on the season. We got 15 minutes left, and Marshall's been coughing up possession.
Yeah, Marshall has given away 4 straight possessions with turnovers. A lot of those didn't even get outside of their own zone. Half
Yeah.
is the right word I'm looking for here. But that last possession had honestly a promising drive going. After a big rush, fumbles it away.
And what Marshall needs here is a stop, because if Coastal scores a touchdown and maybe even a field goal, Marshall might be out of this game.
The other problem that the Herd have today are penalties. 6 penalties for 50 yards, and a lot of those have been on kickoffs, but Marshall overwhelmingly more penalized than Coastal today.
Yeah, 37-27, fourth quarter just started here. Collier in the pocket, jukes out left, rushing up the left side for a gain of no idea.
Again,
A gain of about 10, I want to say.
Again, this is what makes this Coastal Carolina offense so different this part of the season is Collier's legs.
Yeah.
He escapes the pocket when pressure comes in, and he makes electrifying plays. He gets those extra yards that gets him closer to being a first down.
Yeah, Marshall's Jalen Parker injured on the play. He was the one that went after Collier, missed the tackle, and he went down with an injury. He's getting helped off the field right now, but that's a big piece as Parker had 9 tackles, 6 solo, and he's from Pecan, Georgia. So
Some other stats that are important to compare the 2 sides between net yards in this game. The Chanticleers have a 40-yard advantage, 345 to 305. Net rushing, Marshall's got it right now, 210 to 183. The important stat, though, Coastal Carolina 37, the Herd 27.
And something other, I thought you were going to bring it up last time talking about Marshall's rush yards, but Coastal is at 180 rushing yards, eclipse that feat. They are undefeated when getting that. Collier takes a snap, running up the middle on a draw, gets about 2 yards there.
One other note about that. Tim Beck is 12-1 in his career at Coastal when the Chants have rushed for more than 200 or more yards in a game. Getting close to that plateau.
Very close. I think about 15 yards away from that.
I mean, it'd be pretty hard to lose a game with that amount of rushing yards.
246 rushing yards a couple weeks ago against App State up in Boone.
Collier with 3 guys back, 3 skill possessions back, 2 receivers and tight end maybe. Collier hands it off. Never mind. Keeps it. Wow, I got tricked by that.
The option game's so good, it gets our play-by-play.
Oh, wow. I was so convinced, and then I was looking for Collier again, and I just had no idea where he was. Wow.
Javon Edwards was the running back that was in the backfield with Collier, and couple possessions ago, you saw him have a couple of good sequences.
Marshall subbing here. I get the mics on. Collier with Edwards to the left. Hands it off to Edwards. Running up the middle, and there's multiple flags on the play. I think I saw 2 or 3 come in. There's a rush for about 3 yards here.
I want to say that's going to be a holding on the Chants.
Personal foul, chop block.
Chop block.
Chop block.
73 and 58. 15-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That was a chop block on Anthony Walton and Joseph Hansen.
Again, if Marshall gets this stop, this is huge for them, because if Coastal scores one more time, the door's closing.
Yeah.
And it might be fully closed as long as Coastal takes some time off the clock.
Yeah, if Coastal gets another touchdown, that is a 17-point game, 3 possession. If they hold them to a field goal or nothing, that's still only a 2-possession game for Marshall. Collier pitches out left. Rushing up theirs, I believe, nicely for a nice gain of about 15.
Pitched to nicely.
So we'll see how much they got back on that One thing that I will say, you were bringing this up, 9 yards on the gain there, move it from 1st and 25 to 2nd and 14. But if you're Coastal, this is a 2-possession game regardless of whether or not you get a touchdown or a field goal.
Collier rolling out right, throwing. Oh, way over. That was targeting Eli Aragon, junior out of Oxnard, California.
And that's been kind of the struggle this year for Collier is a lot of the throw on the runs. He overthrows a lot of players, but again, his legs are kind of what backs it up because he extends those plays out. You would love to see him hit receivers more, and we get to see Jamison Tucker on the field, who's been, I feel like he's been underutilized this year.
Very much so.
For a guy who was very productive last year.
Yep. And like you mentioned about the overthrows happening with him, we've seen that a few times earlier in this game as well. Collier takes a snap and throws it in the ground. I believe it was it going to be a screenplay? Or did they?
Yeah, it was going to be screenplay.
They blew up the screen there.
Oh, okay.
Back to the previous point that I was going to make, though. Now you're not going to do it because it's 4th and long, but if you're Coastal Carolina, if it was between getting nothing or getting a field goal, there isn't really that much of a difference at this point in the game with it still being a 2-possession contest. So I would have said you're not going to do it here with it being.
I think inside of 4th and 3, they would have probably gone for it.
And I would argue at this time of the game, it's a 2-possession game still, whether you get it or not. So, in my opinion, in that calculated risk game that coaches always have to play is, wonder what they're taking a look at here.
For the punter, for Zebafindi.
And that's exactly what's going to happen.
Play game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Yeah, so they took the 5-yard delay of game penalty. Ball, instead of being snapped from the 40, will be at the 45, which means Sebafundi is setting up from Coastal's 40 instead of the Coastal's 45. So, big 5-yard difference here. See how it goes. Again, still plenty of time for Mashall to come back here. 12:40 left on the clock. All 3 timeouts left and only down by 10. Sebafundi with the punt. Bounces inside of the 5. Oh, Coastal nearly with a absolute amazing punt team there and nearly touching it down inside the 5, but rolls into the end zone for a touchback. Mashall will have the ball on the 20-yard line.
Tough break for the Chanticleers as that took a heavy bounce on that first impact with the ground.
Fans, it's time
Yep.
for the next home
We'll be
game,
back in
presented by
just
Sparks
over 2
Toyota.
minutes for
We will
Marshall's
see you
drive
back at
down
Brooks Stadium
37-27 with 12:40 left in the game.
for a matchup
Welcome back. You're listening to WCC Radio, Coastal Carolina Student Run Radio Station. As we're heading into the final 12 and a half minutes of the Coastal versus Marshall football game. Coastal's up 37-27 over Marshall. Marshall with the ball on their own 20-yard line, looking to get something going here. I think this is a must-score possession, whether that be a touchdown or a field goal. I think they need definitely points. And I want to say, Jack, you mentioned something earlier about how Tim Beck was very good when getting 200 rush yards. Coastal is at that.
12-1 with 200 total rushing yards in a game.
And that is a great start to the drive for Marshall. That was Antoine Roberts picking up about 20 yards there for Marshall. And that's when you look to start a drive, that's exactly what you look for. 20 yards on the ground there.
Roberts has been doing the damage today for Marshall. With that, after that rush, he's going to be well over 100 yards. Before that rush, 14 attempts, 108 yards. Add to that.
Yeah, and I think that's what they got away from in the third quarter, especially. They were looking to pass a bit more. Weren't rushing to start the drives. They were passing to start the drives, which was odd because in the first half, they're rushing a lot more to start the drives. But Del Rio Wilson rolling out right, firing over to, I believe,
Pass complete.
Tamaris. Third down for Marshall here. 3rd and 4 from the 50-yard line here. This is a must-make for Marshall. 11:20 left in the game. Del Rio Wilson running back to his right, setting up in the gun. Motions the receiver over to the right to Antoine Roberts, who gets tackled for -5 yards about. Back to their own 45-yard line. That was going nowhere from the entire start. That was Zach Cody on the tackle for the Chanticleers. 4th and a lot.
And it feels like this Marshall's offense is getting really predictable. Most of the pass plays are screen plays, and they're just running up the middle most of the time. They're going to have to switch something up here, or else they're going to be punting like they are right now.
They are back to punting. They had one great play of the drive, starting off with Antoine Roberts getting 20 yards, and then just did not do anything with that. Coastal's defense shuts it down like it has pretty much all game here. Graves receives it at about the 7-8 yard line. Fair caught inside there, and Coastal will start their drive from inside the 10.
And the thing that was bad about that for the Herd was the clock was running that entire play. So that after you lose the 5 yards and you lose about 20, 30 seconds getting the punt team out there.
Yeah. Coastal with a chance to go up a lot in the last 10 minutes of the game. 10 and a half left here in Conway. Coastal up 37-27 over Marshall. We're heading to break. We'll be back with Coastal's drive.
Which means
Welcome back to Coastal Carolina versus Marshall football. Coastal up 37-27, 10-28 remaining. Coastal will start their drive from the 7-yard line, looking to ice the game, or at least give it very much insecure.
Depending on how long the drive is,
Exactly.
I would say that Coastal gets points here. This game's probably on ice. Now, if you have a quick little 2-minute drive and you get a touchdown or a field goal, it would be very surprising for a 2-minute drive to not give you 7 points.
Most importantly, do not have a turnover here
You
for the
cannot turn the
Chanticleers.
ball over here, especially right now. I mean, maybe later in the drive on like a 4th down or whatever, it wouldn't be as bad. Obviously, you never want to turn the ball over. But right here, especially inside our own 20-yard line, you do not want to turn the ball over. Collier takes a snap, hands it off, and gets tackled for maybe a gain of 1.
And that was blown up from the beginning because that was a really bad snap. It was close to the ground. Again, cannot shoot yourself in the foot here if you're the Chanticleers. Burn time, work your way to get a first down, and put this game on ice.
Yeah, they are running down the clock. There's about 25 seconds left on the play clock, 9:40 left. It is a 3rd and 5 for Collier, though.
A mistake there, though, was getting bleeding clock for the sake of bleeding clock a little bit too much there, because now it's 3rd and 5 with an easy chance for 3 and out for the Herd.
Collier takes a snap, looking to pass over the middle, and that's just dropped.
And that's what you wanted to avoid if you're the Chanticleers, is a quick 3 and out, and that's exactly what happened with those first 2 plays where there wasn't really much going on those. Kind of nothing plays, and then it's an incomplete pass right there. I understand why you're passing, and I don't think it was an incorrect decision to pass there, because you're trying to get the first down to give yourself a chance to burn the clock, but they burn the clock to a fault, and teams lose games. I'm not saying the Shots are going to lose, but teams lose games when you go to burn the clock to a fault.
When you go to not lose instead of to win. Ball's muffed, picked up by Coastal. What's that? Do we call that a drive? Is that the 5th straight drive where Marshall's had a turnover? That is a punt from Zebafundi that gets touched by Marshall and then recovered by Coastal Carolina. And now Coastal flips the field and is on the Marshall 30-yard line right here. The rest just made the announcement here that it is Coastal Carolina football.
Just sloppy play from Marshall all around. Lacey's signaling for the fair catch. The ball bounces in front of him. If you're Marshall, you got to vacate the presence of that. And it hit off the leg of someone. Yeah. I didn't catch who it was, but it hit off the leg of someone for the turnover.
Yeah, you got to communicate that to your team, because the people who are blocking cannot see. They don't have eyes in the back of their head here.
And that's exactly what happened. Lacey did not communicate with his team that the ball was short, that it was going on the ground. And that's what happens when you don't communicate. Special teams is an important part of football, and we see it right there.
Yeah, Lacey might have got ran into by his own teammate, or at least stumbled over, which was a big cause of that muff punt.
There were bodies around him, and the number of people that were in his general vicinity caused him to tense up a little bit, led to that, I don't even want to call it a muff. After it touched the ground, it hit a player for the Herd.
Yeah, Collier at the 40 and gets tackled for a 1 loss, and there's a little bit of pushing on this near side with Marshall's Cam Smith and one of the Chanticleers going at it. I believe that was Eli Aragon with a little mix-up there.
Some extracurriculars there, but here's the thing for the Herd. Marshall needs a stop, and they need it quickly.
Yep. 41, it'll be 2nd and 11 at the Marshall 41 here. Collier.
Game isn't out of reach, but
3 receivers to the left. Collier looking that way. Collier throws wide open again. Touchdown, Chanticleers.
Oh, he's down
no
at the 1.
Signal yet. Yeah, he's brought down at the
Never
1.
mind. Tackled at the 1.
Aragon.
That was to Aragon. Just talked about him last play for the extracurricular activities. This time gets it wide open. Oh, flag. Defense. Holding on the defense. Thought that was definitely going to be against the offense, and Coastal and that get called back, but no, that is against the defense. Coastal will have a first down from the 1-yard line. But for some reason, especially this game, it feels like Coastal has been able, a lot of these passing completions have been on wide open, not single Marshall defender within 10 yards.
And a huge credit to the offensive line there. Gave Collier plenty of time for that play to develop, and what led man-on-man coverage wide open down the field.
Yeah, if he had got 1 yard longer, that would have been the second touchdown where it's kind of just a walk-in touchdown pretty much. And then you take the nicely run also, and that's the third touchdown. Collier here looking to run it.
He's in.
And he is in for the touchdown. There's a signal from the refs. Chanticleer's touchdown. That is a big just momentum shift. Chanticleers Marshall looked like they got the start. Punt gets there, and then the 40-yard pass to the 1 yard line for Coastal.
So that's going to push the lead to 16-17 after this point after attempt, provided it's successful. And with 8 minutes left, this game's not over, but it's that tier below over.
The door's definitely closing.
Yep. Be a 17-point game if he can make it. And it's right down the middle, 44-27, 8:08 left on the clock. Yeah.
And here's the thing here too, guys, is Coastal is going to win this football game, losing the rushing battle. They're trailing Marshall 236 to 213, but right now it's not mattering, and it's because Marshall's been coughing up the football. This is a game that is going to come down to turnovers.
Yep, five turnovers. If we're considering that punt return a turnover,
that's a
which I don't
turnover.
know what else
100%
you call it.
a turnover.
Exactly.
100% a turnover.
Yeah, 5 turnovers on 5 straight possessions for Marshall. Just can't happen. You can't be expected to win a football game turning the ball over 5 times. Coastal with 200 yards of both passing and rushing, over 400 yards total.
So 44-27 right now. And we talk about the amount of points that this Marshall defense gives up, and it's another game where they've given up 35 or more. The problem is tonight, their offense has not been able to keep pace. You have to give credit to this Chanticleer's defensive unit.
Definitely.
For holding Marshall under 30, about their average coming into today as of right now. Now Marshall can get another score and bring their total up over 30, but even still, this Chanticleer's defense has done its job today.
Yeah. With the last drive, it's now a 3-possession game for the Chanticleers. And the kick is in the end zone. And ball will come out to the 25-yard line with the touchback.
Now, if you're Marshall, do you go with a big play, or do you try to keep it on the ground, since that's pretty much been your only big plays have been on the ground?
At this point, I think you have to go through the air and big plays. You're down by 17. You have 8 minutes left. Coastal can use up at least 2 minutes each drive. There's not that many. Coastal could use up 4 minutes on their own, so you have 4 minutes to score 3 times. Not very likely. They do have 3 timeouts and the 2-minute warning, but and not a great start to the drive. That's Del Rio Wilson nearly getting sacked, getting the ball out for an incomplete pass. But they were going for the pass, but it wasn't a long pass. It was a little out route to the tight end. 8:04 left on the clock.
The only positive there for Marshall is it does stop the clock.
Exactly. No, that's a big one. That's a big one, especially being down 3 scores. Del Rio Wilson takes a snap. Shifting, a lot of time in the pocket, rolling out to the right, scrambling out right, tossing it down, and it's dropped. That was a open pass, I want to say, to DeMarcus Lacey, and he just drops it. 3rd down for Marshall here. 3rd and 10 from the 25.
And you wonder if it's the cold weather that are causing these drops, but I don't know, because Marshall's in West Virginia, so they're pretty much used to this type of weather.
I'm not going to say that was an intentional drop right there. If it was a smart play, because that play was going to be blown up. And it's better to take the drop and stop the clock than to have a minimal gain and lose time.
3rd and 10 here. Del Rio Wilson takes a snap. Does not have that much time. Coastal is getting to him, but he's able to escape for about a 2-yard gain. I believe that was a great play by Coastal's defensive line, getting there quickly and kind of blowing up the play before it started. That was Noah Arinze getting in the backfield. So then he did end up getting 5 yards, but it was forced because of the defensive pressure.
So they got him flushed out there, and you asked the question a moment ago whether or not Marshall was going to go to the air or keep it on the ground. My argument would have been you got to go to the air, because The rushing plays have worked, sure, but you just don't have the time.
Yeah,
now,
you would eat up the clock.
This is a manageable 4th down, but you just don't have the time to take these long rushing plays.
Yeah. 4th and 5 for Marshall from their own 30. They're punting. I think if it was a bit farther up, they might have elected to go for it. But that was a great punt. Graves all back in his 10-yard line here. Gets tackled at the 6 or 7-yard line for the Chanticleers. Great punt from the opposing 30 to the pinning inside the 10.
That took a Chanticleers bounce right there, and Graves was kind of in no man's land. He fielded it at the 7-yard line, 7-yard line, and just didn't have a place to go forward. Looked like he wanted to bring it around, then just decided to eat it, and that was the right decision there, because you don't want to cough up possession right here, because that's the one thing that could bring Marshall back into the game. Definitely.
And that Marshall drive took about 1:10 off the clock. Now we're at 6:57 left. Coastal still at 44-27. But the passing, also something, is if it's incomplete, it's not the worst thing because it stops the clock. And also, like you mentioned on the pass, if he did complete it, that's a 3-4 yard gain, runs the clock. If they ran the ball, those would be happening every time. So love the passing call there. Not able to get the first down though. And Coastal back with possession. We'll be heading to break here, and we'll be back in 2 minutes with 6:50 left. Welcome back to WCC Radio, Coastal Carolina student-run radio station. In the last 7 minutes of the Chanticleer football game versus Marshall, Coastal at 44-27 with 6:50 left. Both teams with all 3 timeouts left. Braxton, what were we going to say?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Coastal's offense here, you have to play it safe. About 7 minutes on the clock. If you do a pass play, which you could do it on any down, make sure it's a screen pass. Make sure your guy catches the ball so time can go down. Do not get out of bounds.
Definitely going inbounds. If that means take a sack instead of an incompletion, I don't think you do it now, backed up inside your 10. But if you get to the 50-yard line, 40-yard line of Marshall, sometimes you could elect to take a sack instead of throwing it and putting it in harm's way. Coastal will be starting with their drive from the 7-yard line here after a great punt by Marshall.
The one thing I will caution is don't throw plays away just for the sake of throwing them away.
Yeah, no. If there's nothing open.
Which,
or it's locked up. Collier hands it off for a gain of about what? Maybe a yard?
that first down play was something that
-1. Never mind. 2nd and 11 for the Chants here. 6:35 ticking off the clock. Another 25 seconds left on the play clock.
I understand what Coastal was doing there, and I don't think it's a bad call. I worry doing these inside runs too quickly, but with the lead being 17 what it is, it probably isn't that big of an issue.
Yeah. 7 seconds left on the play clock. Collier hands the ball off as well to the outside for a gain of 3-ish, 2-3, back to the 8-yard line for the Chants. That was to Jalen John. Haven't called his name much this game, but getting on the stat sheet a bit here.
And you know,
3rd and 9.
That's a situation where I think you could possibly go with the option on second down, try to get some extra yardage just to give you some momentum and at least get you out of the, your own red zone.
Yeah. Collier motioning, running back over to the right side. One receiver on the far left side, 3 receivers to the close right side of the line. Another 5 seconds left on the play clock. I would not be sure. 1 second left, and they get the snap off. Collier in the... Ball gets tipped, but it ends up falling incomplete. They were targeting Zach Courtney, tight end from Coastal.
Couple breaks there for Coastal as Collier was inside the end zone, so he took a hit, and the ball was chopped at, and it kind of fluttered up into the air, and Mashall looked like they were going to have a chance at it, and then it hit someone and bounced down for the incompletion.
I believe it hit Courtney off the helmet.
Again, like I mentioned before, right when we came back, if you're going to pass the ball, make sure it's a screenplay. 1, it's safe. 2, your guy catches the ball.
Yeah, and doesn't allow time to run off the clock. Mashall just got a free timeout left. 5:21 left. That took about a minute and a half off the clock there. Zebafundi with a great punt. Mashall did not fair catch it, and he leaned backwards after he caught the punt. Looked like he could have fallen over. 5:10 left, though. Coastal still up by 17. I couldn't do math there.
That's the 3rd time that there's been problems with Mashall on a punt return type of situation. The one thing that I will say there about that play sequence for Coastal Carolina, it wasn't a bad offensive sequence per se, but I just wonder if you could have been a little bit more productive there. Again, it's a 17-point lead. It's a tough mountain to climb for Mashall with 5 minutes left, but you give them a prayer by being as unproductive on those back-to-back drives as you were.
I agree. I mean, if we say Coastal will take 4 minutes with each drive here, that leaves Mashall about a minute. Wilson out right to the left side to Adrian Norton on the completion, who kind of got spun around there, should have gotten tackled, ran back about a few yards, and then recovered those yards back for the first down.
And if you're Mashall, you got to work quickly, but this game's not over.
No. Del Rio Wilson takes a snap, looking left, looking right, looking to run up the middle, and he does. And he gets out of bounds.
Smart.
Yep,
Smart.
To stop the clock, because it's the last 5 minutes, I think, now, right?
Yeah, smart play by Del Rio Wilson. He also had a nice stiff arm in there as he was seeking that sideline. Take what you can and just stop the clock. There is a flag on the play.
Here, yeah.
There is a flag on the field, though, so we'll see what this is.
Away from where the players.
That's a 15-yard penalty.
So an unsportsmanlike penalty on Mashall will push it back further and more penalty yards.
Marcus Lacey, who was fighting earlier, or having. Actually, no, he wasn't. It was Coastal. Never mind.
You know, if you are Coastal right here, the one thing you got to make sure to do, you're dropping your safeties back. You have got to play it safe. No deep balls, no big plays.
No over the
You have
top.
to make sure that Mashall earns every single second on this clock.
Yeah, 4.5 minutes left. Del Rio Wilson with a 2nd and 7. Toss it over the middle, and that is inbounds in the middle of the field. And that was to number 18, Xavion Turner Bradshaw. That will also run the clock down. It's a 3rd down for Mashall here with about 5 yards away. They got about 5 yards to the first.
3rd and 7.
I think that was the previous play. Might not be.
3rd and
15 here.
Yeah, 3rd and 15.
Yeah, so that penalty was 15 yards. 48-yard line of their own. Mashall takes a snap, looking to the left, right, out to the right side, running up and going out of bounds. Gains about 5 yards on the play there. This will bring up a 4th and 10, which they need to go for.
Yeah, this is business time for Mashall. This game is pretty much out of reach for them at this point, but
I would agree.
If you don't convert here, it's 100% over. There's like a 2% chance, but it's 0 if you don't get it here.
Yeah, 4th and 11 on their own. 4th and 11 on the Coastal's 49-yard line here. Yeah, I say
Really,
must make.
The only thing I can think of here for Mashall is something up the middle.
And he's sacked by Coastal's defense there. That is Zeke Campbell getting back there. I believe I called his name earlier today as well on a great defensive play. He gets the game-clinching sack most likely.
I think he forced the ball out too, and Del Real Wilson got it as it hit off of the Coastal defender and came back to him. That ball came out, and he grabbed his own miss.
Oh, wow.
So, Coastal Carolina in the driver's seat right now. I want to get into standing implications right now. This will move the Chants to 5-3. With Georgia State up next, Georgia Southern to follow that. Coastal Carolina at the 5-win mark. Georgia Southern is 1-3. Georgia State's 0-4 this season. So with one win after tonight, that will put you in a position to secure
Coastal will be in a very good position with 4-1 in the Sun Belt, provided they win this game.
Well, that's going to, first of all, this game and then one of those two contests against either Georgia State or Georgia Southern will put Coastal Carolina in a very strong position to clinch a bowl spot potentially next week.
Yep. Mashall takes their first timeout of the half. They have all three. Well, they had all three left. Now they're down to 2 left, 3:08 left. They also do have the 2-minute timeout left. So not out of reach here, but very, very low chance for Mashall here. 2 timeouts, three chances to stop the clock with the timeout.
The homestand continues for Coastal Carolina after this one. I mentioned those Georgia State, Georgia Southern contests. Georgia State here next week. It'll be alumni homecoming weekend in Conway. And the other thing about this contest too, Coastal Carolina has looked really, really good the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
And this will put them 4-1 as far as divisional matchups are concerned. JMU is 5-0, so you're within striking range of JMU. If they lose a tough one, or if you win out in the lead up to that JMU contest, you could be in a situation where you have a chance to earn a tiebreaker and a win over them on November 29th.
Yeah, and you know, the question is how much can this momentum carry on for Coastal Carolina? You get back-to-back wins this week against, Sun Belt rivals. You can find a way to beat that JMU team. Just keep that momentum going, because this Sun Belt Conference right now, it's up for grabs.
Robbie Washington with the end around to losing yards, losing about 5 yards here. Mashall calls their second timeout. 3 minutes left on the clock here. 1 timeout left for Mashall.
So Coastal Carolina, the important thing about these contests is they've won the games against tougher opponents in the lead up to the easy parts of their schedule. These contests against Georgia State and Georgia Southern, definitely record-wise, will be easier ones you expect Coastal Carolina, at least one of them, to win. So, you talk about standings implications as far as division is concerned, but you also have the bowl category. And, you're in a situation next week, you win, you clinch a bowl spot.
Yeah, I want to say, with the momentum that Braxton brought up earlier, Coastal with 45 points last game against Appalachian State. Tonight, they're at 44 against Mashall. Their offense has finally found a way to turn on the gas here, especially in the second half of those games. Coastal last week put up 28 in the second half, and this game, similar story with the second half offense finally finding their game. Defense in the first half able to hold on so that the offense can get dialed in the second half. Rush up the middle. I presume that Mashall will use their third and final timeout, extracurricular activities. That is... Yeah, third timeout, 2:56 left on the clock. This will be Coastal's 4th and 15. Expect them to punt here. Don't see any miracle fake punt, anything like that coming up here, but...
And it'd be wrong not to mention Collier to be the reason for this offense to turn around this year. The defense was always solid for Coastal. It was the question of, can the offense get on track? And Collier has really brought this offense to having that momentum, to changing. And that's what you love to see. Obviously, you would love to see a better pass game from Coastal, but the legs really help out for Collier because it opens up their run game. And most of the time when they run out, it opens up the pass game.
Yeah. Coastal with 28 points last game against App State in the second half. This week against Mashall, 27 of their points come in the second half. So multiple second half comebacks or offensive surges. This will be a Sebafundi punt from his own 31-yard line. Returner for Mashall back there at the 15. Sebafundi punt off and fair caught at the 20-yard line. Mashall will start their drive from the 20-yard line. 2:51 left, no timeouts left, but they do have that 2-minute timeout as their only official stop clock.
So we've been talking about what Coastal Carolina has upcoming for the Herd after today. It'll be JMU next week. Now they get JMU at home in Huntington. Then to Atlanta against Georgia State. App State on November the 22nd. They close the regular season Sun Belt play with Georgia Southern. But as far as divisional standings are concerned, this is a tough loss for them because this is going to put them behind the 8 ball with Coastal.
Yeah, this will drop them to 2-2, even in the Sun Belt at 500, and also 4-4, so even all like across the board.
And in which for Coastal, you're kind of rooting for Mashall next week, so you can, at least move your way up to JMU, and then having the JMU. Obviously, you have to win the Georgia State game, but having that JMU game kind of being pretty much the call for who's going to win.
Yep, that was Del Rio Wilson complete to Toby Payne for about 15 yards as they look to get something going. Del Rio Wilson throwing over the middle. And that, I believe, is back to Toby Payne. Back-to-back plays there. Coastal meets him, so he doesn't get out of bounds. To be 2nd and 3-ish, I want to say here. 2:15 left on the clock. Del Rio Wilson looking to the left side. Fires over to the left, and it's incomplete. Targeted to be Justin Williams-Thomas. 2:09 left, 3rd and 2. It's a big down right here. Obviously, you need it. But also, if Mashall does convert this, 2:09 left on the clock. You want to get the next play out before the 9 seconds. The time does stop after the first down for the chains to move. So they could use that time to get another play off the board. Running to, and I want to say Antoine Robinson. I could be wrong, though. But that takes it down to the 2-minute timeout. They did end up getting the first down, but not able to get a play off before the 2-minute timeout.
First down.
Yep, first down.
2-minute timeout. Game clock operator.
Sorry, but that was to Justin Williams-Thomas instead of Antoine Roberts. Take most likely the last timeout of the game, and we'll be back with 3. We'll be back in about 3 minutes for the game. Final 2 minutes of the game here. Coastal up 44-27 over Mashall. 2 minutes left. No timeouts left for Mashall as they are on the 50-yard line and have a 1st and 10. Welcome back to WCC Radio Coastal Carolina Team 1 Radio Station. You're listening to the Coastal Carolina versus Marshall football game. Coastal up 44-27. 2 minutes left. Marshall with the ball on the 50-yard line. No timeouts left. They are looking to get something here. Del Rio Wilson scrambling out right, fires to the middle, and that is dropped. A little bit behind his targeted receiver, but definitely a very catchable ball to, I believe, Xavier Turner Bradshaw, who could have come up with it, but was not able to catch it.
And once again, I think you really have to underscore the way that the Chanticleers team has rebounded after a really, really tough start to the season, and they've rattled off the wins that they have.
Yeah, definitely. And even a rough start to the game. Del Rio Wilson takes a snap, rolling out right, looking to gain some yards on the ground, and he does with about 4 or 5 yard gains, and runs out of bounds to stop the clock. This will be a 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5 coming up here for Marshall with 1:45 left in the game. They need a touchdown here, then 2 onside kicks.
And you got to give a lot of credit to the Chanticleer D-line for just making, Rio Wilson uncomfortable in the pocket and making him roll out every time, because he misses a lot of his passes whenever he rolls out.
Yeah, Marshall was averaging about 183, 84 yards of the, per game through the air, 136 yards today, so they're about 50 yards short of that mark. Del Rio Wilson, like we mentioned in the open, very good touchdown to interception. He has thrown 2 picks today, and he misses another one with a low pass to DeAndre Tanarez. Tamarez.
And once again, Coastal Carolina is going to win this football game having lost the rush battle to Marshall. 258 for the Herd, 215 for the Chanticleers, and it doesn't matter because Marshall turned the ball over 5 times.
5 times straight to start the second half. Obviously not what you want to be doing to start anything. Del Rio Wilson, 4th and 4. They need this play to stay alive. Takes a snap, looking out to the left, and there's flags on the play for a false start. We'll back them up. 4th and 9. 4th and 9 to save the game. 1:43 left.
And it's just been a really, really bad day for penalties for the Herd. That's going to be their 7th penalty of the night I beg your pardon, that is going to be their 8th penalty for 70 yards.
Yeah, and a few of those have been costly, especially on the kick returns, which we mentioned throughout this game. They had 2 penalties on kick returns, which gave up like 25, 30 yards of field position, moving it from the 35, 40-yard line back to the 10-yard line. Del Rio Wilson on a must-make 4th and 9 here. Left side, rolling out, fake pass, juke inside, and what a play from Del Rio Wilson to get to the 35 and the first down. Juked out a few Coastal defenders there as he fakes the throw way past the line of scrimmage. That doesn't matter as Coastal bit on it, and he's able to get the first down. But again, they need to get going. 1:25 left. Del Rio Wilson takes a snap. Uncomfortable looking in the pocket. Fires out to Tamarez for another first down inside the 20 to the 18-yard line. And another first down. Clock is stopped right now as they move the chains, but it's 1:16 left. Too little, too late.
Kind of surprised to see Marshall keeping Del Rio Wilson in here just in case for an injury. He likes to run the ball, and you saw he did a big tackle come up. Luckily, he's not injured.
1:07 left, and that is incomplete over the middle. Looking for, I believe, Xavier Turner Bradshaw, not able to connect with him. 1:04 left, 2nd and 10. That incompletion does stop the clock. Okay. But yeah, 1:40 ball on the 20-yard line for Marshall. Coastal does have an injured player on the field. Not ideal there.
Taking a look at the other statistical breakdowns here right now. Passing yards, Coastal Carolina 196, so just a couple ticks under that 200 passing yards plateau. 150 yards for the Herd. 22 first downs for Marshall, 16 for Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, Coastal has been outworked everywhere besides the passing yards. First downs. Marshall with 6 more first downs compared to Coastal Carolina, and Coastal is still putting up a lot more points. Also down by 60 yards in the run game. Coastal's player back up and active. That was Miles Woods going down with an injury. He's up and walking back to the sideline. Great game from him, as I believe he had an interception as one of those 5 turnovers in that 5 straight possessions there.
The other thing, too, that's interesting is Coastal Carolina's only had 1 sack in this game. So, Marshall, we've been talking about how they lead in a bunch of these offensive statistics. They've lost this game themselves by giving the ball away. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah.
Marshall has given the ball away and given points to Coastal Carolina.
Yeah, the 5 turnovers is just inexcusable. You cannot expect to win a football game with 5 turnovers. And that's what they did, and it'll cost them. Del Rio Wilson takes a snap, fires over the middle to Toby Parker, gets tackled inbounds at the 17-yard line. They're running hurry up here, but again, I don't think it'll matter. Ticking down inside of 50 seconds remaining here. Wilson with the snap, looking left, looking to the end zone. Oh, incomplete for third. Incomplete to Adrian Norton, but Adrian Norton with a great try at the one-handed catch.
I don't know if there was a better ball for that than that throw, because
Yeah, that was a great pass.
it was right in his hands, and it was tight coverage, but obviously the coverage was too much for that throw, so incomplete pass.
Yeah, that was a fantastic pass, almost a fantastic catch, as Norton was falling down, reaching up his one hand nearly with the one-handed grab. 40 seconds left, 4th and 7 here. Now it's officially the game. And he is still fighting for yards. He might have gotten the first down. He was wrapped up by Coastal at the 15, needed to get to the 10, and he powered forward, and the Marshall offense powered forward to the 10-yard line. And they spike it with 27 seconds remaining. Do you think they bring out the field goal team to get an onside kick, Hail Mary, onside kick, Hail Mary?
I mean, you're talking about stuff that is absolutely impractical.
They are reviewing the previous play that he made the first down. Didn't know they were able to do that, as I believe they might have gotten the spike off. Obviously, they did not get the spike off, but they are reviewing to make sure that he got to the line.
Yeah, I mean, what they're going to do is they're going to say, yeah, you spiked it before we gave you permission to spike it. So that's why they're going to be able to review this one. Again, this is ultimately for a formality, whether or not Marshall's just able to get this last touchdown for momentum. Coastal Carolina's going to win this football game, but important for Marshall as far as momentum for what's left in this. So you do want to see, if you're Marshall, 6 more points put on the score sheet.
Yeah, and even from the momentum perspective, you don't want to be down by 17. I mean, being down by 10 isn't much better, but at least it's a 2-score game and not a 3-score game. Looks better for it to be 44-34 instead of 44-27.
And you know, and this is nothing towards head coach.
Runner was short, and it is going to be Coastal Carolina football here.
This is nothing to head coach Tony Gibson of Marshall. You know, it's actually pretty impressive for his first year how well they're playing, because of course their head coach Charles Huff last year, he went to Southern Miss, and now look at them, they're one of the best teams in the Sun Belt. He pretty much brought that half of that Marshall lineup over to Southern Miss, so Parker's kind of working with the new lineup right here. But overall for Marshall, you know, this is a loss that hurts, and it's a great win by Coastal Carolina.
Yeah. Especially when you look at the start of the game where they had all the momentum. They were leading by 10 points, had forced multiple turnovers for Coastal, and then to give that right back at the start of the second half, come out of the second half and turn the ball over. Coastal, halftime adjustments must have worked really well. Call here to take the snap and the knee, and that will end the game. 32 seconds left as that will tick down all the way, and Coastal will win 44-27, your final score. Coastal will improve to 5-3 overall and 4-1 in the Sun Belt. 1 game back of Marshall for Sun Belt East lead.
I don't think you can say enough about the way that this team has progressed forward since losing that game against Old Dominion on October the 4th. This is a different football team, and they have rattled off 3 wins in a row, and they've looked good in doing so. So, I mean, you can't say enough about what you've seen from this team the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Looking good while winning. Not just playing Charleston Southern for the first win of the year, 113-0 at home, didn't look the best. These past few weeks where Coastal has looked like a very good football team where they could challenge for the Sun Belt Championship.
As long as they can keep this momentum going, I don't see the Sean slowing down in any way possible. Not with this defense and not with Collier snapping the ball.
Yeah, this defense has looked electric, and with this offense finally picking up these past 3 weeks, giving the defense giving the offense something to build off of. Coming out of the second half has been absolutely key for Coastal. 44-27, your final score. I'm your play-by-play man, Chris Lafferty, with my co-host and analyst, Jack Sargent and Braxton Miller. Thank you for tuning into the WCCU radio broadcast of the Coastal Carolina versus Mashall game. Have a great night. Have a great Halloween.